hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. It's Untethered Live, Politi-tics on a Saturday night. And I'm your host, Jake Johnson. And tonight, we are celebrating Independence Day. Wait, no. We're celebrating independent thought. That's what it is. Batshit Crazy says, get her done. That must be Brooks and his brother. You know the band Brooks and Dunn? Brooks and Get Her. What do you think? Debbie's here. She says, howdy all y'all. Hello, darling. Nice to see you. Welcome to the show. Come on in. Take your shoes off and your pants. Whatever you like. Amanda's here.
Hi, Untethered Live.
Say it once more with feeling.
Hi, Untethered Live.
Politi-tics.
Politi-tics night.
Thank you. Thank you. Kevin Bernard is here. He says, hello, Bat, and hello, Debbie. And Amanda says, Bat, here's your gold star. You get the gold star for being first in chat. Something like that. I'm on the ball. Don't worry about me. I just woke up from a nap, so my brain is getting its thoughts together and hasn't got to the meeting yet. But we're waiting. We're waiting. Amanda says,
I don't know where I'm at.
the top of the chat. First thing you say.
Hi, Bat and Debbie and Kevin.
Yeah, see, you should say it. You don't have to type it no more. You have a microphone.
Well, hi, Debbie.
Right
hi,
on.
Bat. Hi, Kevin. How are y'all doing tonight?
Kevin says, hello, Amanda and Jake. Hello, Kevin. Nice to see you, my friend.
Hi, Untethered Live family. Good to see you all. Happy Saturday. I hope everyone had a good day and is doing good. Hi, Jake. How are you tonight?
I'm fine, and I'm sitting here, and I'm having a show, and we're doing good stuff tonight.
You know what? Just remember where you got to sleep tonight. You just remember that.
Well, apparently I'm having trouble remembering things, so you might have to remind me, but I'm sure I'll get the message.
Put you in the doghouse.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And Debbie says, now I think I need a mentally ill pencil. A mentally ill pencil. I think I got that expression right. Did I get it right? Is that how it goes? Guns don't spoon people, mentally ill pencils do? I think that's how it goes. No. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. Guns kill people like spoons cause fatness and pencils cause misspellings. That's how it goes. I knew I was missing something.
Are you waiting on me?
Yes.
LOL, Debbie. We all do.
That's what a pause is.
I was typing. I can't type and read at the
Pauses are
same
pregnant.
time.
Okay. Kevin says, Debbie, pencil or pickle? A mentally ill pickle. That would be weird. That'd be a pickle that tastes like an onion. Deranged. Right?
A pickle is for other things.
Can be.
She doesn't want a support pencil or ill pencil for that.
Pencils are thin and sharp.
Yeah.
Pickles have ridges and bumps and
Yes.
character, personality.
And some girth.
Girthy pickle. Kevin says, LOL. Debbie says, I already have an emotional support pickle. Now I need a mentally ill pencil. Right on. Kevin says, I can feel the mentally ill roll. Amen, brother. Me too. This world has driven me plumb crazy. And Kevin says, and I can bring a pencil. Make sure it's a number 2 pencil. You don't want to miss that. By the way, just along the lines of everything is bullshit, has anyone ever seen a not number 2 pencil? Because I haven't.
I have.
No, you haven't.
I have. The
Don't
ones.
disagree with me on my own show.
Okay.
There's no such thing as a pencil that's not a number 2. They all have a number 2 on them.
All solid wood pencils have a number 2 on them, yes. But the ones with the little mechanicals, those are not number 2 pencils.
You've been to school, right?
Yeah.
Do they provide pencils at school?
Sometimes.
Are they anything other than a number 2 pencil?
Sometimes.
That's my point. I understand that there are lead pencils of lighter shade that you can buy, like for art and like for different applications. But a school person has never seen a not number 2 pencil, so telling them to be sure and bring a number 2 pencil is kind of redundant. If you go to Walmart to the school section, they only have number 2 pencils.
Yeah.
You have to go to a specialty store to get a not number 2 pencil, an art supply or something like that. They don't have them in the school supply section. So, am I wrong in assuming that that's a redundant statement? Could be just me.
It's probably just you. I mean, there's carpenter pencils that aren't number 2.
Though nobody's ever used one of those in school.
I mean,
They would win all of the pencil challenges.
well, yeah, that's the point.
And I'm talking about this from the perspective of school, by the way, where you would hear someone say, bring a number 2 pencil, because nowhere in any job, and I've been in lots and 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 lots of jobs, no one has ever told me to bring a number 2 pencil. Only in school. So I'm talking from the perspective of school. Has anyone that's ever been to school ever seen a non-number 2 pencil at school? This could be a thing. I might have broken the case wide open.
Genius.
Genius.
Now your head's going to swell. It won't fit through the door.
Good. I appreciate that. Debbie says, but are you pencil? He could be if you get him excited. And Debbie says, darn, you was close. You have to be a pencil too. Kevin says, LOL.
My virgin eyes.
Good gracious. Kevin says, LOL. And Debbie says, Amanda, that is the funniest thing I've read all day. That's how we roll here at Untethered Live. We like to make it funny. Nobody is having more fun than we are. I guarantee it. Debbie says, Amanda has virgin eyes. No, she doesn't. I have defiled her eyes on more than one occasion. Personally. And her nose and her chin and everywhere else.
Shh. LOL. Well, good, Debbie.
Lady B's here with lots of hearts. Hey, Lady B, how are you? And those are not hearts. What are those? Is that a heart in a cage? What is that?
Those are hearts.
That's a heart wearing a helmet? What is that?
It's a heart on fire.
No, at the end of the first run. What is that?
That's a heart on fire.
It's like a watermelon with an attitude.
No, it's a heart on fire. An actual heart, not a shape heart.
No.
Yes.
An actual heart looks like a fist. They don't look like that. That's a cartoon heart.
It's
real hearts are
fire.
gross and have aortas.
It's a heart on fire. She's smoking.
I'm with you. I see the vibrating heart and the broken heart and the gift heart and the starry heart and the pierced heart and the different colored hearts, but I don't know what the thing with the fire is.
A heart.
That's like syphilis.
It's hard.
Amanda says,
hi, lady.
Kevin says, I don't see lady. YouTube chat sucks. Make sure you're on live chat, not all chat. She is here, I promise. I saw her myself. Kevin says, hello, lady. And all the money YouTube has, and they can't fix the chat. I know. I've been complaining about it for years now. They just can't get it right. I don't know what it is. You'd think with all the money that YouTube had, they would give me some of it. But they don't. I am going to take a moment and have a nice sip of this hot cup of coffee. Thank you to the people that provide the coffee for the show. It is wonderful. I appreciate it. It is regular, Joe, don't you know? That's how I like it for show. Don't you want to have a cup with me? If so, go to the kitchen, pour yourself a nice hot cup. Let's talk about it. If you don't have a cup, though, you can get one in the description below. I recommend the first one. It has my face on it. It is fantastic. But we have stainless steel tumblers down there too, good ones, big ones and little ones, and they have the Untethered Live Bible Study logo on the front, and you can order a different kind if you really want one. I'll make you one, whatever you want on it. I'll put my feet on it if you want it. You just got to let me know. Like, subscribe, share, support, join. Super chats are available in the chat box if you want to show a little bit of love. If you want to, you can do that right over there. Or hit that Cash App, $JakeJohnsonBand, if you can afford it. And I really hope that you do, because this show is brought to you by viewers just like you. One last thing. If you would like to hang out with us outside of YouTubeverse, outside of the oppressive little fingers and censorship laws and me misreading everything you write down, if you want to just hang out and get to know each other and share pictures, text, videos, and chat, you can do that over at facebook.com/UntetheredLive chillin'. The link is in the chat. It's a great place to hang out. The ladies are killing it with a chat, with memes. It's funny, it's free, and once a week, I am adding an entry to my Untethered Live official Everything is Bullshit R&D session right over there. Everything is bullshit. I'm going to be adding something new every week over there to just prove it to you. It's my thesis, and I am doing research and development for a book I'm about to write, and I'm doing it through memes. So go follow me as I do that, and keep up your education as we go. And now, back to you. Jake Johnson Band. Lady B says, Amanda, I have tried for 3 days to be a member. I called my bank. They didn't see the problem. Google won't let me purchase. I have changed my Google password many times. It makes me mad and sad. Oh, Lord, we need to fix that problem.
I already told her in the chat.
Okay. I would recommend that you get a Cash App account. It's free. I've been using it for more than 10 years. I've never had an issue with it coming and going, sending money and receiving it. No one can break into it. It's safe. Get you a Cash App account, and you can use that quite regularly and easily with YouTube, with Google. And they'll send you a card, so you'll have a physical card that you can use, and just put a little money on that from your bank account, because it has the link to your bank account anyway, and just use it like that. And that way, if anybody ever did hack your card or your account or whatever, it wouldn't have access to your money, only what you have on the Cash App card. And your bank account would be safe and insulated from the internet. That's the way I do it, and that's the way you should too. I hope you can get that solved. And I'm sorry that it's a problem. I've had more than one person tell me it was a problem becoming a member, and I do apologize about that. But that isn't my fault. That's nothing I'm doing. That's their system. Amy says, hey, Amy, liked, shared, and invited some friends. I literally just walked in the door, home from overtime. Congratulations, you made it. And you were worried. I knew you'd do it. Kevin says, hello, Amy. And Lady B says, Kevin, I see you. Why don't you see me? Amy says, hi, everyone. Hi, Amy.
Hi, Amy.
Kevin says, Lady B, now I see your comments. Maybe you just needed to give her some time. She'll warm up to you eventually. Amanda says,
message YouTube. They will help you. I had to do the same thing. It's a Google safety thing.
Okay. And Lady B says, why? Elaborate. Or YouTube, elaborate. Tell her how to message YouTube.
I didn't. Just go into YouTube chat customer service in your members thing or in your settings. You can go right into YouTube chat and they'll take you right through it if that's the way you want to do it.
And thank you, Lady B. I appreciate the support. It means a lot to me. We do everything we can to provide you a solid service of entertainment and fun and education here on Untethered Live. So it's a worthy investment. I appreciate you. Amy says, hello, lurkers. To all the people out there that won't chat, don't chat, can't chat, don't want to chat, refuse to be involved in chat. Hello. Thank you for watching. Debbie says, pickles are ribbed for her pleasure, but pH balanced for a man. Wait.
No,
that can't be right. Lady B says, I don't see Debbie. She's here, I promise. Make sure you're in live chat, not all chat. Amanda says,
YouTube customer service chat.
And
hi, Amy.
And I'm just kidding.
I was going to say, there's not a third one there.
Lady B says, I don't see Bat either. That's because Bat hasn't said anything since the beginning. but I assume he's still here. Amy says, yes, art pencils come in variety, different shade, different hardnesses. See, I told you. You have to go to a specialty store to get a number 2 pencil. Where you get pencils, generally speaking, there are no non-number 2 pencils. They're all number 2 pencils. You have to do a special thing to get a non-number 2 pencil. So telling students, which is just an extra worry on their brain that they don't need to have, be sure you bring a number 2 pencil so they can have a panic attack trying to find and make sure that this is, in fact, a number 2 pencil, because not all of them say number 2 on them. Only the yellow ones do. Maybe you should leave them the hell alone and maybe teach them math. How about that?
They don't teach them math anymore. They teach them Common Core.
I know. Oh, that was my point. Maybe not worry about the pencil thing. Also, as the rebel that I am, I took my SATs with a non-number 2 pencil, and guess what? It's fine, because everything's bullshit. Lady B says, ha-ha, Debbie, I see you now. How Tracy Lawrence of you. Debbie says, what number are those fat pencils for kindergartners? Number 2.
Yep.
They're all number 2. All of them. Unless they're not. And you can't buy a not number 2 pencil at the general pencil store. You have to go somewhere to get one of those. Like a carpenter pencil, you can't buy one of those at Walmart. You have to go to the Lowe's or something to get one of those.
You can get carpenter pencils at Walmart now. Walmart has everything. You don't know?
Apparently not.
They do.
I'm going to have to call you on that. Let's go find a number 2 carpenter pencil at Walmart.
They don't have number 2 carpenter pencils. There's no such thing as a number 2 carpenter pencil.
This is what I'm saying.
If it's a legitimate thing, then Walmart has it.
Go look it up right now.
If they made number 2 carpenter pencils, I could find you one at Walmart.
I must know.
I could find you regular carpenter pencils at Walmart.
Do that.
Okay.
Amy says, most pens and pencils are right-handed. Right. If you hold them in the left hand, the print is upside down. I know, right? It's a conspiracy against left-handed people. Because in the old days, they believed that left-handed people were from the devil. This is true. Yes, in fact, there was a considerable amount of effort spent on castigating and insulting left-handed people because of their affiliation with the devil in our history recently. By recently, I mean in the last 400 years. This was a thing. Write it down that I said so.
You want special colors?
I don't care. I just want to see that there's a carpenter pencil at Walmart. And Amanda says, the fat ones, Debbie, what are you talking about?
The pencils, the little fat pencils for the kindergartners.
Oh, I'm sorry. My mind went somewhere else.
And you say, I'm the one that's stuck on perverted.
Amy says, yes, in art class. See, art. There's always art there. I've seen pencils that are not number 2 pencils. Come on now. Were they colored pencils? Kevin says, Debbie, does your pickle require batteries? If there's any kind of pickle, it does. Lady B says, no, you won't. They are used for standardized tests, bubbles, and everyday writing. They were before the lead pencil. Right on. And Debbie says, your chat's about to jump. Hang on, I'll find it. All right, where'd you go? 8:40. All right, I found it. And Debbie says, no, Kevin. He is a crochet pickle with cotton stuffing. Well, that'll get icky real fast. Patty's here, says, what's going on? peeps. Hey, Patty. Nice to see you. Welcome to the show. I'm in rare form and talking about random nonsense. Kevin says, hello, Patty. Total Tech's here. Welcome, Total Tech. Reported for smoking. Well, you report ahead on. I'm free and over 21. That's ridiculous. That's not a carpenter pencil.
Those are the flat carpenter pencils.
I stand corrected. They now have carpenter pencils at Walmart. Total Tech, were you a hall monitor in class? Is that what your business was? Why don't you mind it? I'm a grown man. I'll smoke if I want to. Chris D's. I see what where you're going there. You're not catching me, but hi. Amanda says, hi, Patty.
Hi, Patty.
Linda Davis is here. She says, hi, all. Wavy hands and hearts. Hi, Linda. How are you? Welcome to the show. It's Saturday. You know what that means. Jake done lost his mind.
Can't lose some you never had.
Amy says, smoking hot conversations. That's right.
Hi, Linda Hun.
All right. Kevin says, damn, I just turned on the live chat. Thanks, Jake. My pleasure, my sir. It happens. It's happened to me a bunch of times. Trust me. Amy says, hi, Linda and Patty. Total Tech says, unsubscribed. Well, you have to be subscribed to unsubscribe. So, your threats are bottomless and vacuous. Aaron says, hey, Aaron, what's up, buddy? He says the lead pencil was first. The number 2 pencil is graphite. That's why they want you to have a number 2 pencil, because it is graphite. But we still call that a lead, which is why when you stab yourself with it, you don't immediately get lead poisoning. Don't ask me how I know. Kevin says, hello, Aaron. And Amanda says,
hello, Aaron.
Something about fire hearts.
Yeah, the first 3 hearts are the fire hearts, and the second 3 hearts are regular hearts.
Those are real hearts. Yeah.
And so is the first 3. They're just on fire.
Yeah, okay.
Men.
Amy says, this isn't the airport. No need to announce your departure. Right. Thank you, Amy. Patty says, hello, everyone. I hope all is well with everyone. Me too. Me too.
Me 3. Hello, Aaron.
Aaron says, I had to step out the corner. A troll has summoned me. Break out that big sword you got back there. And Amanda says,
hello, Aaron.
no.
Oh, peace, Total.
She's a stoner. It's okay.
I'm not.
By the way, Total Tech, as you leave, turn around and look behind you and notice how many women are in this chat. And know that you're the guy walking out the door, and that tells you everything you need to know about who you are and who I am. Bye-bye.
Deuces.
Lady B says, love you, Kevin, and everyone. We love you, too. Aaron says, peace. Amy says, hi, Chris. Chris? Did I see it? Oh, Chris D's. Hi, Chris. I roll my own cigarettes, by the way, and this particular batch, I had some old tobacco left over in the bottom of a bag, and it doesn't seat in the cigarette quite properly, so every time I light it and flick it, the fire goes with it, and I have to light it again. So you'll see me lighting a bunch of cigarettes tonight. It's the same one. Aaron says, hello to all my friends and family, and hello to my brother Jake. What's up, buddy? Nice to see you. Thank you for being here. Amy says, hello, Aaron, the mighty troll hunter. Troll hunter Aaron. I like it. Fab Daddy said hi. Hey, Fab. Nice to see you, my friend.
Hi, Fab.
Aaron says, hello, Amy, the fastest brain in the land. And Kevin says, hello, Fab Daddy. And Lady B says, hey, Amy, sweetheart. Lady B says, thank y'all so much. You are all family to me. Y'all are motivation for me. Believe it or not, but you are. Dead smiley, dead smiley, dead smiley, tongue, mouth, mouth. A lot of dead smileys there. But you know what, Lady B? It is 100% our pleasure to be motivation and anything else you need. That's why we're here. And that's what we've built over the last 10 years. It's wonderful, and we all appreciate having it. So thank you for being part of it. And Linda Davis says, hey, Fab Daddy and Aaron. And Lady B says, battery-operated pickle, Lamau. You got it. You know what we're talking about. Kevin says, hello, Linda. And Aaron says, hey, Linda. And Linda says, hi, Kevin. And Aaron says, what goodies did you make?
Talking about Linda.
Oh.
What goodies Linda made today?
Oh.
Aaron's just here for the food.
Hey, I'll take it. I'll take it. I don't care why, as long as I get credit for it. Soph Allen's here, says, hi, guys. How are you tonight? Or how are you guys after saying hi, guys? Hi, guys. How are you guys? Too many guys in that sentence. Soph? Pippo Langstrumpf. Welcome. Walmart has pocket pussies, I guess. Well, by the logic that was presented today, I would agree with you.
They do.
And they might. That's the problem.
They do.
They do, apparently. So there you go. You and I both stand corrected. They would know. She's got a Walmart membership. She buys everything there. It's ridiculous. Kevin says, hello, Soph. And Soph says, it's Sunday here in Australia. Tomorrow is the first day of spring. Yep. It's Saturday here, but it will be Sunday tomorrow. And then the next day will be the first day of spring. That's how calendars work. Fab Daddy says, I need some pickle condoms. Extra small, please. Close fit. The closest fit I found was finger condoms. Those are not for what you think they're for. Those are for dealing with little tiny screws that have lubrication on them. You work in a factory, put finger condoms on so you can grip them and not shoot them all over the place.
Bank tellers and stuff use them too.
Yeah. But you can use them for, the business, but you might lose them, and that's scary.
Then you got to go looking for them.
That's what they call spelunking. You're welcome.
Stop it.
I'm a spelunker. What can I say? Hello. Aaron says, Pippo, you're one of them. Find a pocket. Amy says, I had a coupon today for Arby's. I'm too tired to cook. 2 beef and cheddars, 6 mozzarella sticks, 2 curly fries, 2 turnovers, cherry, and 2 drinks for $17. That's pretty good. We're going to start eating at Arby's. I could get 2 burgers for $17 at Burger King. Ridiculous. That's a good deal. Debbie says, Walmart used to be my litmus test for things sold on TV infomercials. I never ordered from the TV. I waited till Walmart had it. And if Walmart never got it, it didn't work. Smart. I remember that. You can only get this on TV for 2 payments in $19.95. But it's at Walmart. Yeah. Get one while supplies last. That's called programmed necessity. That's how they sell you things. They make you think they're running out of, and you got to act now. That's why so much effort is into acting now. A real smart person will wait a day or two. You might even get it cheaper if you wait a week or two. They don't want you to think like that, though. The whole world does not want you to think critically. They want you to think the way they want you to think so that they can control you. This is what I'm saying. Anything and everywhere you look, you can see that everything is bullshit if you have the mind to see it. For example, late night infomercials. You got to act now. There's a clock on the screen counting down. Look, the guy's talking with excitement and fervor because he wants you to get excited. If you think critically, if I wait a week, I can get it half price. They don't want you to think those thoughts. They want you to act now. because that's what's on the screen. That's called mind control. It's a spell. It's wizardry. I'm using that as an example, but you can see it in every facet of life, whether it be politics or the town meetings or your local grocery store or the newspaper or YouTube. Even my commercial, this one, has built-in obsolescence in it. Built-in necessity. Get it now. Do it now. We need it now. That's the nature of advertising. Amy says, I didn't eat it all. I will later. That's probably a good idea you didn't eat it all. It's a lot of food for one person. Kevin says, I always forget when it's the night of the trolls. Yeah, that'd be Saturday. And I open up the show to everybody and usually won't get out of here until midnight or 1 o'clock because it gets wacky up in here. But I usually get 2 or 3 subscribers out of it, so it's a good deal. So if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button for only 2 payments of $19.95. And if you act right now, you can get one while supplies last. Hit that subscribe button. Patty says, I'm so glad you are all here and real on this here Saturday night. Yes, we are real, I think. There might be a bot in here. The way you can tell a bot is they use the same word over and over again in sentences. They don't understand that repetitive language doesn't work. It's the uncanny valley of the situation. Or they will often constantly talk about something that nobody else is talking about. Or ask the same question every time they pop in. That's how bots work. And they'll claim to be people, but they're not people. Sound familiar? What number are we?
852.
852.
Linda Davis.
Linda Davis says, Aaron, I was out all day with my son and his family, and now I'm at my other son's house, staying with his dogs for the weekend, so I haven't made anything today. Well, as long as you get something to eat, that's all that matters. Aaron says, yes, Kevin, always. And good you took a break, Linda. Amy says, hi, Soph. And LOL Fab. Soph Allen says, hey, Amy, how are you? Didn't you just ask that question? Soph? Soph, will you respond to me directly, please? What is your favorite color? Amy says, Pippo, don't forget the lube. Yeah, if you're going to have a pocket pussy, you need the lube because it gets sticky. Latex is sticky. Amy says, Soph, I'm tired, but I'm blessed. And Debbie says, Jake, shame on you. My pickle never gets icky because I don't use it like that. He is afraid of the dark. Oh, well. I assumed that your emotional support pickle was a pickle cover. A sheath for the pickle, as it were. A pickle sheath. Maybe I'm wrong. Elena Maria Pompeo, you ass, stop smoking. Hey, Elena, sit on it and spin. I'm a grown man. Just for that, I'm lighting another one. What's the matter with you? Did your mama teach you any manners? You're in my house. If you don't like what you see, move on, little doggy. Amanda says, hi, Soph. Amy says, Debbie, I haven't been to Walmart in a long time. Neither have I. I was totally speaking out of my ass. Soph says, I'm tired too, Amy. I've been sleeping most of the weekend. Right on. And Amy says, trolls are good for the algorithm. Correct. The algorithm looks at numbers. They look at how many likes. They look at how many viewers, the length time of the viewers. They look at all the numbers. So your numbers count, even if you're making fun of me, even if you're being trolly. As long as you don't break the rules, which are don't disrespect the ladies and keep it to a minimum in the crazy department, we're fine. Don't repeat yourself. Takes up too much chat. And we can read, so no need for that. Aaron says, Alina, be careful. It's all right if they talk trash to me. That's all right. I can handle myself. Amy says, I've never seen anyone smoke with their butt before. I can't say that. Elena says, you stop, bitch. Just stop posting. It's not like you're going to get anywhere. Aren't you jealous of a successful story? What makes you think I haven't gotten anywhere, Elena? What do you do for a living? Who do you think you are? Amy says, he needs to start smoking with his ass before he can stop, right? Learn to speak English. Aaron says, I bet there's a video somewhere, Amy. LOL. I don't want to see it, though. I've seen it in real life. It is possible. And also, a woman can shoot a ping pong ball across the room if she's talented. Seen that, too. Aaron says, shots fired by Amanda. Amy says, think about your choices for 5 minutes, Elena. Right? I bet you feel all, superior because you came in here and told me the business, right? Feel like you've done something in the world? Your moral superiority is up on high? One of us is a loser. Guess which one it is? Linda says, Elena looks like she is 10. She shouldn't be on this page. Well, it is clearly marked not for children. If they come, I can't stop that. YouTube asked me if I made children's content, and I said no. No. This is an over 18 crowd. If you're younger than that, go play with your toys.
Go find your Barbies and your Hot Wheels and your Legos and go play.
That's right. Amy says the timeouts will get progressively longer. Right on. Amy says, right, Linda, probably a bot account. We do have some of those in here currently. And I know who they are.
As a bot.
Do you? This cigarette is very yummy for those of you wondering. It's delicious. Amy says, LOL, Aaron. Kevin says, Jake, I take the shake from the end of the bag and dump it on top of the new bag to prevent that from happening. Yes, the cigarette thingy. I was just trying to get rid of the bag, and you're right. That's probably what I should have done. But nonetheless, it still smokes. I just have to light it more often. Batshit Crazy says, hey. What's up, Batshit? Nice to see you. Amy says, a butt smoker OnlyFans account. That would be something. That's proof that I'm not doing this for the money, because if I had that account, I'm pretty sure I'd be a millionaire. Aaron says, Amy, want to wait with me in the corner while trolls get timed out? And Amy says, I bet. And LOL, only buns. Aaron says, only buns. Right on. Ladina Simmons is here. She says, hi all. Hey, Amy, how was game day at work? Yeah, football is back in season, ladies and gentlemen.
Woohoo!
And hi, Ladina. And Kevin says, hello, Ladina.
Hi, Ladina.
Linda says, hi, Ladina. And Amy says, hi, Ladina. It was okay. Thanks for asking. I'm exhausted. Amy says, IU won 24-7. Right on. I guess that's good. Amanda says, FSU won. Also, way to go, Knowles. Go, Knowles. Roll Tide. Come on now.
No,
Roll Tide, dang on.
that's Alabama, and I think that's who we played was Alabama,
Roll Tide.
and they lost.
They got a better catchphrase.
No, they don't.
Roll Tide. I don't know anything about football, so it doesn't mean anything coming from me. Fab Daddy says dental dams, but with mustache cut for her pleasure. That does say dental dams. I don't know what that is, but it sounds creepy. Dental dams with a cut mustache for her pleasure.
I thought it said dental Dems. I thought he was going after the Democrats.
Oh, Fab Daddy, let me let you in on a little secret from an alpha male. The mustache is where it's at. They like that. Don't cut that.
It tickles.
So Fallon says, I'm having steak tonight and clearly not going to respond directly to Jake. And Debbie says, does that mean Jake picks noses? If there's something in there, yeah. Spelunking is looking for a bat in a cave, isn't it? No. Spelunking is going into a cave, is cave diving. You might be looking for a bat, but you might be looking for diamonds too, or pearls, or whatever the hell reason people go into caves. I think some bat connoisseurs go spelunking, but that's not the meaning of the word. Spelunking just means cave diving, dipping in. Spelunk. That's what it sounds like if you throw a rock into the water, spelunk. That's what they're doing, spelunk. And I spelunk. And I'll pick your nose if it gets you off. Ain't no shame in my game, baby. I do it all. I don't know the word no. Amy says, spelunking is exploring a cave. The bat guano is a bonus, Debbie. Amy says, operators are standing by.
Ew. LOL.
Come on now. Roll Tide. Debbie says, Amanda, and you got a bat in the cave is code for a booger. Ha ha.
LOL. No way, Debbie. My cave is always good and clean. So fresh and so clean.
Like summer's eve, Amanda.
No.
Wrapped up in the douche like the middle of the night.
That stuff is very bad for you.
Yes, it is. I've always been told that if it smells like anything but what it's supposed to smell like, there's something wrong with it. Amy says hi. Spec Lobby, welcome back. Hello. How is it going today? I haven't been here for a while. Do you remember me? Of course I remember you. Quite popular. Nice to see you, Spec. Patty says, it's literally called spelling when you learn how to spell. Yes, that's correct. And you are casting a spell when you write things down. Here's the thing you need to know. This is one of those master level tips that I'm going to tell you. I'm going to share it with you right now. Write it down. Listen to me very carefully. Write it down. Doesn't matter what it is. If you have a plan, if you have a goal in mind, if you have a mission statement, if there's something you need to accomplish, write it down because there's power in the writing. First of all, writing leaves a record. There is physical evidence of the thought that you just had. Second of all, it's a reminder that you can refer back to keep you on track. Third of all, it is a mission statement for anyone who chooses to read it. Fourth of all, it gives you something to feel ashamed of if you don't accomplish the thing that is in front of you in black and white. It's a motivational skill. Write it down. There is power in the writing. This is a master level skill tip right here. Write it down. Everything. Set a goal, write it down. Easy, articulatable, clear, simple steps to get to the goal, and then follow those steps. Lists are important. There's a reason people make them. Amy says, buttons, pushing the buttons. Right on. Some of those buttons lead to happy time. And Amanda says,
Hi, Spec.
Fab Daddy says, Amanda, are you saying your cave is well ventilated? No soot in your cave walls? Well, I don't go in there with a torch, if that's what you're saying. All stick, no torch. Amy says, red velvet. Amen.
LOL, I don't know about ventilated, but it's clean.
Hey, S3 Dubs, do I look like a moron to you? Let me answer that for you. No. I'm not going to shout out your brother because you don't have one, and I'm not a child that would fall for such a simplistically minded trick. Go play with your friends. You're too young to be here. You wouldn't understand what we're talking about anyway. Amanda says, S3, take that elsewhere. Amy says, not the first time he's tried that, Amanda. Yeah. That's what I just wonder, what kind of pleasure do you get out of that? Is your life so miserable that does it for you, that you go traipsing through other people's live streams and trying to get them to say naughty words because that seems clever to you? Is that your life? Is that what you think is good? You think you're making it somewhere? I would suggest strongly that you put your phone down and grab a book immediately because your brain is in serious need of expansion. I don't care how old you are. A 1-year-old should be more mature than that. And Amanda says,
What did I say? Oh, and no, Fab. Jake knocks the soot out.
beat the brakes off of that thing. Let me tell you what. Somebody popped Rich ass on accident.
No, I popped him on purpose.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you can't say that. Hey, Rich ass. Amanda says.
I know, Amy.
Amy says, hi, Spec, and hi, Rich.
Hi, Rich.
Care to elaborate on why that was popped?
Because he's copied what the other person, S3, said, and said 3 cheers for and hip hip hooray. And I knew that you would just see Rich and read it, so I knocked it out.
Okay. Well, there you go, Rich. Don't do that. Stay in between the lines, buddy. Amy says, don't say that, Rich. And Linda Davis says, hi, Rich. Kevin says, hello, Rich. And Aaron says, I remember you, Spec. And Rich says, hello, ladies. And Kevin and Aaron. Amy says, eating Tylenol for dessert. I got my goodies right here, and I may take some before the night's over with, like right now. Because trolls give me a headache. They are good for the channel, though, so I'll take the headache. But Aaron says, Big Rich, what's up? Amy says, speaking of under 18, what happened to Colin? Hadn't seen Colin in quite a while. Maybe he got tired of being a robot. There was evidence that Colin was a real person.
He's a real person.
But if that's the case, I have rarely seen a person with such one-track mind that all they ever talk about, ever, is junking, scrapping, and lawnmowers. This is the sling blade version of a 10-year-old.
He's 13.
Whatever.
But, I mean, that's what he's excited about. So.
Well, that's what I kept talking to him about. But apparently he got tired of coming, so hadn't seen him in a while. Someone else reminds me of that a little bit. And I'm beginning to wonder. I notice patterns. You see, that's my genius. I'm a pattern recognition guy. legitimate genius in that subject, which doesn't generally help in any other situation except for when you have a bunch of patterns in front of you and you have to recognize them. And one thing I'm noticing is a trend in the way people talk that I don't know. And so I'm starting to notice certain people. And I've asked twice. I'll ask a third time. Soph, will you respond to me directly with what your favorite color is? Like you to me. I'm going to administer what's called the Turing test, and we'll see how you do. Rich says, hey, my brother. What's up, my friend? You were talking to Aaron, but I'll answer. Aaron says, stand up and say I'm Tylenol. Amy says, LOL. She couldn't take it, Aaron. Amy says.
No, Amanda says.
Amanda says.
He pops in and out, Amy. He's probably back in school by now.
Probably. I haven't seen him in a few months, though. More than a few months. Might be 6 months.
No, it ain't been that long.
Linda Davis says, I was just thinking the same thing, Amy. And Debbie says, oh, damn, it's getting hot in here, Aaron. Aaron says, you good, Rich? And yes, Debbie, it is. And Amy says, Ladina, I like driving the Polaris around all day. Is that one of those side-by-side dealies? That what a Polaris is? And Linda Davis says, roll tide, dang on. Is our school team, our high school team, they won this Friday. Roll tide. Come on now. Patty says, you don't know until you know, and then you know. Correct. Very wise observation, Patty. Rich S says, I feel fat. And then my chat jumped. Hang on.
He ate a giant bowl of pasta. 9:15.
I feel fat. I ate a giant bowl of pasta. You should be fat. Why did you eat a giant bowl of pasta, Rich? Moderation, my friend. Amy says, Patty, a.k.a. if you know, you know. If you know, you know. Smiley, smiley. Right on. Aaron says, that's good, Rich. And Soph says, hey, Aaron. Aaron says, hey, Soph, what's up? Spec Lobby says, hello, Aaron. Didn't see your message. And Aaron says, oh, don't worry, Soph. Richard Attenborough. I'm guessing that's not you. Watch your mouth. Really. You're not cool as you think you are. For the love of God. All right. So you need to be banned. Aaron says, absolutely a bot. Fab Daddy says, tomorrow is supposed to be a day of rest, but I'll be working. Well, actually, that's today. The Sabbath is Saturday, not Sunday. Installing a kitchen sink faucet, a toilet, cleaning gutters, and working at the rake factory. It's going to be a full day. Sounds like a full day. Jesus, man. If your ass falls into a ditch, do you leave him there till Monday? No, you do not. You handle business as it is needed, says Jesus Christ. So you go do what you got to get done. We understand. Rich says, message retracted. I can't read it if you retract it. And then Rich says, okay, I am a social media rookie. Sorry about the law breaking. That's all right. No problems. You're not being admonished. They just remove the thing that shouldn't be said because you are regular and you don't get treated like trolls. Amy says, I work today, Fab.
I work today, too. I'm holding my bed down.
Petar, take your nonsense questions elsewhere. Amy says the Sabbath is Saturday. It's supposed to be anyway. Somehow it was changed to Sunday by the Catholic Church because they fit all the bells and whistles of the Antichrist. Amy says, your chat's about to jump again.
9:23.
Sounds like a lot of work, though, Fab. It is. Lady B says, OMG, it's 8:21, Bama time. Y'all, my phone died. I was like, shit, my phone died. It's at 20%. I showered and I'm back. Forgive me if y'all was talking to me and I didn't respond. I would never ignore you. But that's all right, Lady B. As long as you're naked while in my presence, that's all that matters. A Polaris, Amy says, is a utility vehicle like an ATV or a gold cart. Gotcha.
Golf
cart. Yeah, like a side-by-side. Which I've never understood why they call it that, because it isn't beside anything. It's its own thing.
It is a side-by-side. You're sitting side-by-side.
Then you're a side-by-side. It's not. It's not in the seat. You are.
Yes, but you're sitting side-by-side.
Right,
in the
but
vehicle.
you calling it a side-by-side infers it sitting side-by-side.
Well, it sits side-by-side when you park it side-by-side.
Then it would be a side-by-side. But they don't come like that. You only buy one. Everything's bullshit. Lady B says, hey, everyone, again. Much love, heart. Much love back at you.
She was naked listening to you.
I know. I like it. Aaron says, welcome back, Lady B. And Lady B says, hey, Aaron. And Soph and Debbie. I was saying hi before my phone died. Yep. Marijuana often leads to death of phones. Amy says, no answer about the favorite color yet. I know, right? It's almost like it's a bot. Lady B says, hey, Fab. And Aaron says, he asked Soph her favorite color, right? I did. I bet you could get her to answer because her little hooks are in you.
Hey, Soph, what's your favorite color?
Lady B says, Jake LaMau. Just the same old panties and tank top all summer long. I hear you. Convenient.
Comfortable.
Cool.
Easy to take off.
Easy to take off. I like it.
Yes.
Lady B says, hey, Rich. Amy says, Soph, what's your favorite color?
Run around all summer in nothing but a t-shirt.
I'm with you there. I'm wearing long sleeves, but that's all I'm wearing. Wouldn't you? You would need a much longer camera. Lady B says, I am vanilla. I am a biker that has never smoked anything except barbecue. I hear you. That's all right with me. I was making a joke of you using the word high for the word high. I do that sometimes. Not all of my jokes land, folks. I'm not a comedian.
Definitely Patty.
And Lady B says, Amy, thinking of you. Oh.
Patty says, I am truly convinced that most everything is bullshit.
Most everything is bullshit, Patty. And
Yes,
the more
ma'am.
I look, the worse it gets. This is not a new thing. I've been looking at this for 20 years now. And I assure you, I started out with the exact opposite disposition. I wanted it to not be true. How dare I think that the established sciences were bullshit? That's the way I approached this. And the more I looked, the worse it got. Everything you were told as a child, i.e., quicksand, camels store waters in their backs, you know, all of the things, everything you can think of. Dinosaurs lived 60 billion years ago. Everything that's ever been programmed into your brain is all bullshit, every bit of it. The closer you get to the truth, the more of it is available for you to see. You have been living in the Matrix for a very long, long time, since at least the 1800s. Matter of fact, if you go back to the ancient writings and you realize that in those days they didn't create drama. Drama was created by the Greeks in the Middle Ages. That's where the comedy drama symbol, the happy face, sad face, that was the beginning of drama for entertainment's sake. Before that, people just wrote things down because they were important and they wanted to remember them. So, at least from that point forward, everything has been increasingly more and more bullshit. Before that, I believe they were telling the truth about the things that they saw and thought. Lady B says, hey, Patty. And Patty says, it is truly war. Yes, it is. All of it. All of it, says Patty. I agree. Aaron says, what kind, lady? Of underwear? I'm sure the cotton kind.
I don't know. Lady seems like she might be the lacy kind.
She might be a thong kind.
Thong to thong, thong, thong.
Butt dental floss.
That's a G-string.
Isn't that what a thong is?
No, there's a difference. The thong is the little fatter line, and a G-string is just a thread.
Only thing I know about ladies' underwear is they're going to be hitting the floor. Yo. Sorry. Lady B says, I hope you all believe me. I have drank a lot of beer and wine in my years, but that's it. No CS. I don't know what CS stands for. I am serious. I am too busy teaching and earning a living and not doing the recreational drugs. I believe you. I don't do drugs either. I don't like flossing bridges. I don't like them flossing bridges.
She's so country.
That's from a movie. Oh, BS, not CS. Everything's bullshit. Right, I got you. No, I believe you, lady. Aaron says, Debbie says, I'm a granny's panties kind of gal. Comfort matters. I hear you. I hear you. I'm a no panties kind of guy. I don't wear panties. And Lady B says, wow, nice. I know. It's hard to believe I look like a drug addict, but I'm not. A lot of people would like that, though. They would like to be able to say that.
So, Debbie, comfort matters. That means none at all, right?
She said granny's panties. That's around the bottom and up to the belly button. I guess. They hit the floor just as fast.
Yeah, and they don't stay stuck in your butt the whole time.
Yes, they do. Butts are like that. They eat underwear. Lady B says, in college I went commando. I'm not sure why. I just like the breeze on campus. I also spent a lot of time in the breezeway, if you know what I'm saying. And Linda says, Jake goes commando. Yes, he does. I'm a free baller, baby. Let them puppies fly. Wherever they will, that's where they go. And Fab Daddy says, wow, my son just called me. I love that kiddo, even if he ain't worth the gray hairs. Why would you say your son ain't worth the gray hairs? Wow.
He must be a Republican.
Listen, that boy's worth every gray hair on your body. Believe that. It's the best thing you've ever done. And the best thing you can ever do beyond that is teach him to be a good man, strong and of good conscience and God-fearing. You remember that. Great Fathers Club. Somebody said that. Lady B says, I'm laughing so hard I can't breathe. Well, get them flossing bridges out. Maybe that'll help. Kevin says, Fab Daddy, gray hair comes with the parenting. Yes, it does. You see that? I got a lot of it. Debbie says, never commando abanda. Full coverage means no butt munching of the cotton.
Right.
I got you. Aaron says, Soph, can you answer Jake? No, she cannot. And Lady B says, Debbie. Smiley, smiley. And Fab Daddy says, gray hair comes with age. No. Nope. Gray hair is a demarcation of wisdom. Believe that. It comes with age because of wisdom. There's a lot of people out there that are old that don't have gray hair. They're not very smart either. Beards are a demarcation of wisdom also. At least the old people would have you think that. No, I'm not suggesting that unless you attain wisdom, you don't get gray hair. Yes, you get gray hair with age. But gray hair is a symbol, is what I'm talking about. And Patty says, listen, I have an automatic withdrawal of $5 each month. They tried taking $9 I call them and they take the tone, oh, hey, we will fix it. My point is, cannot trust automated withdrawals now. Are you talking about as a member? I don't think you're getting withdrawn from me as a member. But I hear you, and you can't let them take advantage of you. I would recommend, personally, that you pay your bills with your money when they're due. I wouldn't leave it to a computer or to someone else to take my money as they see fit. But I do not believe that you're getting $5 a month withdrawn from this channel. If you are, I apologize for saying that. I need to go look at that now. Let me see.
No, it's her checking account.
Oh. Lady B says, well, Jake, I don't have gray hair and never colored it. I'm not dingy, just distracted. I hear you. That's all right. You'll get there.
Fab Daddy says chest hair because of strong coffee.
Chest hair, yes. Absolutely that. Look at that. We agree on something, Fab Daddy. Monkey Juice is here. He says, what I miss? A bunch of sexy talk and some bullshit, a couple of trolls, and that's about it. And Lady B says, you will get there what? Gray hair.
Hi, Monkey.
It'll come to you. Hello, Monkey Juice. Monkey Juice says, hello, Amanda. And Kevin says, PayPal never failed me. PayPal is a good system, and CashApp is a good system.
I was going to say, I love CashApp. It never failed me.
Not only is CashApp the most solid out of all of them, PayPal's never done me wrong, don't get me wrong. But they take very little out. I get almost 100% of what I get from CashApp, and they don't charge me anything monthly. It works like a bank account. It has a routing number, and I can use it as a bank account. I have a credit card, so I can use it as a debit card. It has a locking feature where I can lock it, and no one can get money off of it. So if I lock that account, even if I have things set up to be automatically pulled out, if I lock that account, nothing gets pulled out. Nobody can access it from the outside. And it's only my PIN that can open it back up. And after a certain period of time, they will start a credit line for you and start loaning you money. As long as you pay it back, you can get money. Now, that might not mean much. It's only $100 or whatever. But if you're in a pinch and you need $100, there it is. You can get it and pay it back for $5. That's a pretty good deal.
Well, the loan amount depends on how much you get deposited and how much you get the loan and pay the loan back on time.
And Patty says, I do need the lock. I would strongly suggest you start using CashApp for your internet dealings. Go get you a CashApp card. It's a free account. It doesn't cost anything to sign up, and they'll send you a card within 3 days. Make sure you read everything and fill out everything right and do whatever they ask you to do, and they'll send you a card, and that gives you the functionality from your phone to lock it with a PIN number that only you have, and nobody can draw money out unless you say it's okay. And also, like I said earlier, if you put a little money on your CashApp card and keep a little cash on there, and then put all your internet stuff on CashApp, then if somebody hacked your account and got your credit card number, they can't actually access your bank. They can access CashApp. So you hadn't lost anything, especially if you lock it. They can't get your money. They can't affect your bank account. So it's like an extra shielding. Your bank account ain't involved. It's just CashApp. That's the way I use it. But, PayPal's good too. Patty says, sorry, I forgot the topic. There's no topic, whatever you want to talk about. And I do need the lock. And Lady B says, Amanda, I am dying over here. I have figured Jake out. He is bullshit himself. Wow. My side is hurting from you will figure it out. Fab Daddy says, I believe there is a correlation with gray hair and stress. There is. Or is that baldness? No, baldness is hereditary. You are bald. Well, first of all, testosterone or the lack thereof causes baldness. The extra amount causes baldness. It's the opposite. If you have an overabundance of testosterone, you'll lose your hair in your 50s or at any time, but mostly in your 50s. But male pattern baldness is hereditary. You get it because that's the kind of head you have. But this idea that you're so stressed your hair's falling out, I don't think that's a thing. And Kevin says, Amanda, how do you get CashApp? You just go to CashApp.com, I guess. I don't know what the actual website is. You could do a Google search and go there and then just sign up for a CashApp card. And Lady B says, hey, Fab. And Amanda says,
LOL, lady.
And then my chat jumped. I found it.
9:41.
Fab Daddy says, my Lady B. And Amanda says, just Google CashApp and sign up for it and get the app on your phone. Yeah, once you've signed up, and I think you can get it from their website, you can just download the app onto your phone and you can use it from your phone. And Kevin says, thank you, Amanda. And Lady B says, as expert at a hair salon, I will tell you about gray hair, Kevin. No. Does it say, it either says, I will tell you, or ask a hair salon expert. Monkey Juice says, from what I've been told, your hair DNA comes from your mother's father. Well, actually, DNA is transmuted by the mother. It's actually mRNA. Or mRNA. Something like that. Anyway, genetics comes from the mother, not the father. I know that sounds counterintuitive to science, but read your ancient history, they'll tell you. And also, it makes sense. A woman is the giver of life. It makes sense that the DNA is passed through her, not through the father. Kevin says, Lady B, I'm running out of hair to turn gray. Right on. And Lady B says, I mean Fab Hair Salon. Right. Horizon says, it is what it is and ain't what it ain't. Well, Horizon Life, I'd say I agree with you. It is what it is. Kevin says, hello, Horizon. I guess I'm saying that right. Horizon? Or Risen? Aaron says, Soph. It's funny how that works, isn't it, Aaron? Lady B says, Kevin, I bet you are confident enough to not even be concerned. Google all the intelligent men that are bald. It's amazing. And Lady B says, ask. And Monkey Juice says, my father had black hair and bald. And I have red hair. Go figure. I would talk to your mama about that. I don't need to figure very much, by the way. Pretty sure I got it figured out. Fab Daddy says, as a kid, I got my hair cut at the salon. Now I cut it myself. I miss the boobies rubbing in my shoulders. Right on. And Ryzen, don't repeat yourself. We heard you the first time. Lady B says, good evening, Ryzen. Aaron says, Ryzen is a bot. You'll have that a lot. Hey, it rhymed. Lady B says, Muggy, do you have a temperature? Curtis Knight says, Flanders. Why, doodly-doo? How doodly-doo do you do? Ned Flanders, what's good? I'm not Ned, buddy. Ned wishes he was as cool as I am. Monkey Juice says, just take what you get and be happy with it. Amen. Aaron says, driving while listening. Got to take something to my son. Handle your business, buddy. And Ryzen says, I just got done getting some much needed sleep. I finally got up and took a really nice hot bath. And I have a really good vegetarian supper that's been slowly cooking all day. That sounds wonderful, Risen. Enjoy that vegetarian supper. However, if you would like some energy, get you a piece of red meat Be good for you. Lady B says, monkey, autocorrect. I meant temper. Do you have a temper? Monkey Juice, do you have a temper? Because of the red hair? Kevin says, Curtis, hello. Works much better. Right on. Yeah, when you walk into a room full of strangers, hello is usually the proper nomenclature to appropriate in that moment. Try it. Monkey Juice says, okay. Lady B says, Jake talking about red hair, laughing so hard. My mother was a fiery redhead, and so am I. I didn't know if you noticed it or not. The red highlights in the hair. My mother was an auburn red hair. I'm like a red bone. I'm a redhead, but it just comes out brown. Because my father was Native American. Walter Davis says, good evening all. Hey, Walter. Nice to see you, buddy. And Lady B says, sounds yummy, resin. And Amanda says, hi, Walter.
Hi, Walter.
Thank you. I didn't know if you were still in there.
I had to reset the timer on your coffee pot so it didn't shut off.
Thank you. Speaking of which.
Are you ready for more?
A little longer.
Okay.
Kevin says, hello, Walter. And Lady B says, good evening, Walter. And Linda says, hi, Walter. And Monkey Juice says, Monkey out. I thought we were fighting tonight, Monkey. What's up? Thought we were going to talk about school shooters or whatnot.
Monkey didn't bring his Wheaties today.
Ah, well, I see. That's okay. I'll get you next time.
He didn't eat his Wheaties and he's got his pull-ups on.
Could be that news report that came out today that blew the whole thing wide open about what's really going on.
Right.
That's probably what it is. Lady B says, I am chestnut with auburn highlights. Nice. I am part Cherokee, hence not much gray. Right on. Believe it or not, I am mostly Native American. I have a little bit of Irish in me, but the rest is Native American. But for whatever reason, I got the Irish look.
I got a lot of red headlights in my hair, too.
My grandmother was half, if that'll tell you anything. She looked like an Indian. So her son would have been a quarter, and whatever that left is me. Amy says, sorry, I dozed off. Well, if you need sleep, get sleep. Walter says, monkey. Hi, Jake, Amanda, Patty, Linda, Kevin, Lady, Curtis, Aaron, Fab. Walter, nice to see you, buddy. And Rich S says, speaking of coffee, Monday is my first day of screaming hot coffee. Happy Labor Day. Happy Labor Day. I keep forgetting that it's now Labor Day. Monday. It's Labor Day weekend. I didn't even know it was. I found out yesterday that this was Labor Day weekend, which is why I'm staying at the house. I don't need no popos crawling all over my business, you know what I'm saying? Amy says, hi, Walter. And Lady B says, monkey, hear no evil, speak no evil, see no evil.
Hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil.
They just look like blobs of monkey shit.
They're monkeys.
Uh-huh. Fab Daddy says, I got my adult Wonderoos on. Ungaroos. Spider-Man. Let's talk about that piece of crap that murdered kids praying at a church. Right on. That piece of crap is mentally ill pencil. Kevin says, I'm so tired of hearing about these cowardly school shootings. Right on. Well, one thing I've been able, I'm an observer of patterns, right? It's literally what my genius is in. I've noticed a pattern about these school shootings. The past 10 of them have a common thread all the way through. And I'd be willing to bet money that if you go back further, I'll bet money on this, that you'll find some sort of perversion in all of them. Every single one of them. And I'd be willing to bet that every single one of them is the same perversion. And also coupled with SSRIs. And now you've got a recipe for disaster. And I'd be willing to bet that is the reason that this keeps happening.
And no institution to help them.
And we shut down all the sanitariums, so there's nowhere to put them. Rich says, yeah, Fab Daddy, I did hear he was trans. Well, that seems to be the going pattern. And Monkey says, monkey back, monkey forward, monkey see, monkey do. Monkey me, monkey you, monkey who? Monkey says, Landy bought his Wheaties.
And
he bought his Wheaties. Why? Why? Why what? Why is a deep subject. So as well. But which why are you referring to? And I'm glad you brought Wheaties because you're going to need them.
And also, the boy that did the kids at church or the school, he went to that school.
And did you hear about his mother?
His mother's not helping because she told him not to transition and he did it anyway. So now he's blaming it all on her.
Victim mentality, which is taught at school. That's where they get that from.
Said he wished he'd have never listened and been brainwashed to transition.
Brainwashed. We wonder where he got brainwashed at.
His mama wasn't on his side, so gee, leaves one place.
Debbie says, I read that the shooter regretted being transitioned and the mom is not helping the police, and we know why.
The mom adopted a kid out years ago and had a movie made about her.
Imagine that. It's almost like it's built into the narrative, like you can't get away from it. You can't escape it. This is what causes that. And Fab Daddy says, I think it's time for the Second Amendment to return. Gun laws are repugnant to the Constitution. Well, see, here's the problem with gun laws, Fab Daddy. They only affect people that are obeying the law. I don't know why this is hard to see. Only criminals will be free. Only people who follow the law, who are already following the law, will be affected by gun laws. So basically, if stronger gun laws were put in place, only the innocent people would be unarmed and unable to defend themselves and their families, which is what they want. I'm not going down that rabbit hole. I'm armed to the teeth and proud of it. Monkey says, oh, okay, that's it. What's it? Bring it. I didn't start it, Monkey Juice. I'm not bringing anything. I will respond to you in kind, and I will leave a husk of weeping mess behind me as I step forward. That's how I roll. If you're not ready for that, do yourself a favor and sidestep the ass whipping that's coming your way. But I didn't start this. Remember that. Amy says, I eat life cereal every day. That way when I die, people will say, she was so full of life. Right on. Lady B says, why and well, Lamau. Deep subjects for shallow minds. And Lady B, you're absolutely correct. I am 90% bullshit. That is what I do. They call this an act for a reason. Fab Daddy says, bring back the Wild West. Everyone should be open carrying. I agree. When you need a cop in seconds, they are minutes away. Well spoken for a liberal. I think you're right. And Monkey says, exactly, poor parenting. No argument here. And I don't disagree with that. And Lady B says, Amy, smiley, smiley. Amy says, some people are so open-minded that their brains fall out. It's good to be open-minded, but not so open-minded that your brain falls out. Don't blame it on trans. If that's what you heard, the argument has been finished. I just won it. Silly, silly person. Trans is a symptom of a much larger problem. Normal, well-adjusted people aren't trans. Lady B says, I say it's eating all the processed foods day in and day out for those. That doesn't hurt. I'm sure that's part of it. Mostly it's the solutions that we've implemented to people that didn't have any problems to be solved, like antidepressants, lithium, Paxil, and Prozac, that sort of thing. And Lady B said that, not Amy. And Lady B says, are you trans, monkey? Get him, Jake. I will release the Kraken. Believe that. And Lady Fab Daddy says, back when I was in high school, trucks had gun racks. Now they got spinners. Right. When I was in high school, you could bring your 22 in and lean it up against the wall in the corner while you went to class so that you could have access to it on your way out. That's just the way it was. Guess what you never heard of when I was in school? Not once. That didn't start till the early 90s. Amy says, when a person is distracted by their phone driving and it causes an accident, we don't blame the phone, we blame the driver. Correct. And Monkey says, 1375 school shootings, 1,375 school shootings since 2001. What's your rep? I don't disagree with that. I think that the problem started with Dr. Spock. There is a correlation going all the way back to when people started rebelling against what their parents did. You know, when the war was over, the parents went wild. They had kids. They're the boomers. They had kids. But they were the first time free. They weren't in a war. The country was bouncing back. And they went crazy. They went out partying. They went out doing whatever. And they had latchkey kids. Kids that were largely left alone. When those kids grew up and had children, us, they swore that they were not going to treat their children like their parents treated them. And they began this nerfing everything mentality. Dr. Spock came out with his book. You know, all of these different people, Dr. Phil and everybody trying to teach you how to parent without disciplining your children and making all these rules about how you're supposed to act around your kids and getting involved in things they ain't got no business being involved in. And next thing you know, you got a bunch of freakazoid people that don't know who they are going around killing people. It's a slippery slope, and we have slid all the way to the bottom of it. Anybody with half a brain cell and is being honest can see it clearly. The patterns are there. This was a problem that we caused, and we're going to suffer the consequences for it. What is my response to that? I gave you my response to it. Amanda says, trans is a mental illness. It's all chalked up to a mental illness. Where did that mental illness come from? It came from avoiding things that are necessary in favor of things that people desire. That's it in a nutshell. Amy says, in gun-free zones. I agree. All of these things happen in gun-free zones in liberal cities that are Democrat-run, who spend the most time talking about gun laws and restrictions. Imagine that. Monkey says, all trans. Yes, every one of them. Or some version of that. I'm going to give you a phrase now that I'm going to leave up to you to look up because I don't care to get into it or be associated with it. But I'm going to say a word, and you go down that rabbit hole, and you tell me what you find at the end of it. 9-0-A. That's the last time I'm going to say it. If you didn't hear it, you missed it. Bars should be gun-free, Amy, so I disagree. I don't. I've been in lots of bars that have guns all over them, and they're perfectly safe and perfectly fine. Matter of fact, the safest place I've ever been in my life was around a bunch of bikers who were all armed. I feared no evil, surrounded by people that were equally able to defend themselves. Yes, I know what trans means, Monkey Juice. And I'm telling you that behind every single one of these dispositions is some form of perversion that lends in that direction. Yes, all 1375 of them. And then some. Linda says, all these kids think it's the new in thing to be gay or trans. It's ridiculous. And it's largely been pushed on them by pop culture. Kids do what is in cool, what's in vogue. That's what kids have always done. Before there wasn't such thing as a teenager, you were either a child or an adult. Before the 50s, they invented the teenager, and ever since then, we've had nothing but trouble with them. Trust me on that. Go back and look for yourself if you want to, but that's the truth. And that idea comes from the environments that we put our kids in, public schools. And those public schools are geared towards teaching our children how to be human beings. So they learn all of this stuff at school amongst themselves and from the teachers. And that's where it comes from. Notice that there are very few homeschool people involved in these things, if any. Linda Davis says, I agree, Fab. What, the bars shouldn't have guns in them? Every bar I've ever been in has a gun in it, because I'm carrying it. I've never once been attacked or hurt or threatened. Amy says, alcohol kills a lot of people. Ban alcohol. Well, now you're getting into territories where we make money and where we like our freedoms. There have been way more automobile deaths than there has been anything else. And we don't ban cars, because that would be involving interfering with our rights to move around. We don't ban alcohol, even though it's the largest killer also. We don't ban toilets, even though there is a large number of toilet-related deaths in this country. We want to ban the one thing that keeps us sovereign and keeps us from being overtaken by other regimes. We want to ban that and use it as a guise to solve some problem that it won't solve. Because if you ban guns, the only people that won't have any are the people that obey laws. I promise you, the criminals will still find a way to get guns and still use them. Fab Daddy says, if your truck has a nutsack hanging from the tow hitch and didn't come with it from the factory, you created a trans vehicle. No, you hung a nutsack from your ball hitch because apparently you have a tiny penis and you want to show everybody that you don't. Walter Davis says, yeah, Linda, I said that years ago. I was told I was intolerant. Monkey Juice says, I thought Christians were supposed to love everybody. Who told you that nonsense? And do you understand what the word love is? And by the way, to win an argument is not to try to turn me against myself. I don't care what you thought. I am who I am. What you thought, if it was incorrect, is not supporting your argument. It's making you look silly, so don't do that. Don't ever suppose you knew something that isn't the way that it is when you're arguing. That doesn't bode well for your end of the argument. I'm helping you out here, and I shouldn't be, so keep that in mind. Amy says, maybe have armed guards at the schools. I agree. And I also agree that you should arm the teachers, but not tell anybody who's armed. And I think that they should take some government money and send those teachers to be properly trained and vetted first. You don't just want to give anybody a gun. There's a lot of crazy teachers out there, too. I.e. the one in upstate that's got the big hunkers, shop class teacher. Don't give that guy a gun. He's got problems. But there are some teachers, if they volunteer, and if they are willing to go through the training and the vetting, they should be allowed to carry a firearm. Unrecognizable. You should not tell anybody who those people are. You should not advertise who's armed and who isn't, and it should rotate every day. That way, everybody that's in school knows that somebody here is armed, and if I misbehave, somebody's going to stand up and defend themselves. I guarantee you these things will stop happening, because the one thing I know about criminals, they don't want to get shot. Unless it's a death by suicide by cop thing. Amy says, Monkey Juice says, stop being a fake Christian. Hey, Monkey Juice, how about kiss my ass right where it looks like a fig? I am not a fake Christian. You are losing your own argument now. I'm not going to help you anymore. Just because I love somebody does not mean I have to tolerate their nonsense. And love is a very vacuous word. It means all kinds of things. Example, the Greek have something like 12 words to describe love. Hey, Amanda says,
we love everyone. We just don't have to like them.
And Monkey Juice says, yup, fake. Well, you know what, Monkey Juice? You can say that all you want. That's not going to hurt me at all. That's only going to make you look childish and lose this argument. It's not going to change tomorrow one iota. And tomorrow is when I do Bible study, because I'm a real Christian. So, you know, show your butt if you want to. All you're doing is showing your ignorance. I thought you came to argue. I don't hear you putting up any arguments, because you know I'm right. Amanda says,
hold on a minute. There ain't no fake Christians here.
That's just something that people say when they're losing an argument. Walter Davis says, Amy, Jesus said, they think I come as a lamb, but no, I come with a sword. I think that's backwards. Because when Jesus came the first time, he came as a lamb to be sacrificed. He did not come to fight. The next time he comes, that's when he'll be coming with the sword. I think you got that upside down. But I do take your point, even if it's incorrect. Just because you turn the other cheek does not mean you expect them to strike you on it. Amanda says,
how am I fake, Monkey?
He doesn't have an argument. He doesn't understand Christianity at all. So he can't be the authority on saying what's a real one and what isn't. Patty says, but you have to love one to live with them, and that is where the problem lies. Yeah, again, Monkey Juice, you don't understand Christianity. Monkey says, from my understanding, Christians fuck their lives up so bad that they have to look to a higher power. That is not why we look to a higher power. That is the case for everybody on planet Earth, not just Christians. But we don't seek him because we screwed up. We seek him because he is the salvation. Linda says, my kids get told they can't wear certain clothes because it's distracting, but other kids can go to school dressed as a furry. It makes sense. Make sense of that. Simple. The system, as it were, is designed to promote the chaos and crush down the normal. They're trying to turn that into normal. And the only way you can do that, because it's not normal, is to sensitize and crush down and put a stop to actual normal. Think about it. Fab Daddy says Ritalin for ADHD kids is a horrible thing, and I blame the psychologists, which is bullshit, by the way. 100% psychology is bullshit. All the psychology majors in college were messed up in the head. Yes, I've met and been around and spent time with quite a few psychologists, and they are very screwed up people. You don't drug a kid because he has energy. You don't drug a kid because you're forcing them into a square room with drab walls and a clock and a buzzing fan and a fluorescent light that's blurring, and force them to do a thing that they don't want to do for 8 hours and then get mad because they act out. That's what's happening. There's no such thing as ADHD. That is a child that wants to do what a child wants to do, not be forced into a cubicle. Because school is breeding good employees. That's what school's purpose is. Shocker. They discovered boredom. Walter Dave says, pray for the sinners, but don't be a victim. Don't be a victim. Smiting is the real thing in the Bible. Right. Don't be a victim. Smiting is a real thing in the Bible. Yeah, it's real in real life, too. People get spitting every day. Monkey Juice says, talk, walk, preach. Love everyone Christians. I've never said either one of those things, so what are you talking about? I do walk the walk. I do talk the talk. And I do preach. And I am a Christian. So what is your point? Debbie says, we used to institutionalize crazy. Now we set it on the front porch and give it a beer. Yes. That is the problem. That's exactly it. Now we subjugate normalcy and free crazy. That's why we're having crazy problems. Amanda says,
I can have love for you and not like you.
right.
Just because I love you doesn't mean I like you, and just because I like you doesn't mean I love you.
Monkey Juice says, perversion makes people want to kill. You're crazy. I've never tried to kill anybody at a school because I'm not a pervert. I've also never intentionally went into a live stream and started an argument that I couldn't win because I'm not crazy. See the difference? Yes, perversion is the slippery slope that leads to these things. You can't be corrupted if you're not perverted in the first place. If you are uncorruptible, you are not perverted. Perversion means a twisting of reality, a turning upside down of the things that are normal. And that is what this ideology is, one you're a part of. If I was you, I'd get out of it while you still could. Because it will take over and it will ruin your life. Write it down that I said so. It goes deeper. Yes, it goes deeper. But it starts with a twisting of the mind. Maybe look at cartoons, the things that we subjugate our children to every day. When's the last time you looked at one of those things as an adult? Amanda says,
All right, Debbie?
and
Mental issues, 100%.
that's it.
Whether you're trans, whether you're gay, whether you're bi, whatever you are. It
Or
all
furry.
stems from a mental issue.
Yes. And people prey on that mental issue when they see it. There are litmus tests for that mental issue in plain sight. Like a gay pride parade. Or like a little pin that has a rainbow on it. Things like that. And when you realize that you have your hooks in somebody, then you prey on that perversion and then twist that person because you know you can. And that's what happens. Walter says the only documentation of the turning point of our society is the movie American Graffiti and American Graffiti 2. I wouldn't say that's the only documentation, but it is strong evidence. There's plenty of documentation. If you want to hear it, it's a little bit of a long haul, but I suggest you look up a documentary with the guy Yuri Bezmenov. He's a Russian defector that came over in 1984, no pun intended, and told the secrets of the KGB and what they were planning. Go watch it. Everything he says, verbatim, has happened since then. Yuri Bezmenov. Go check him out. Linda Davis says, nope, that bring back open carry. Rachel's here. Hey, Rachel. Rachel says hi. Nice to see you. How are you doing this fine Saturday evening? And Linda says, hi, Rachel. And Amanda says, hi, Rachel. And Rachel says, if someone is going to commit mass murder, they will find a way. Criminals don't follow laws. Lamau, agreed. Yeah, the law thing ain't going to help. That's not even close to a solution to the problem. Fab Daddy says, I just asked Julie Berryman if she ever had a parent say, stop indoctrinating my kid. Well, it's been a long time since I've seen Julie Berryman, but I would imagine if she's in the school system, she's had that question asked. And Monkey says, guess what crazy does? Crazy. Guns don't help. They don't hurt either. Sorry. That's not the problem. The gun isn't the problem.
I know we was in the store the other day and the guy in front of us had a gun on his hip and I felt 100% comfortable and safe.
Yeah.
I would much rather be in a state that's an open carry state than a state that has a gun ban.
Absolutely. That's why I keep mine pretty close to me. And Debbie says, take the kids, give them a trophy for showing up, tell them there are consequences for what they do, and then prescribe them drugs that gives them a hormonal imbalance, and you get today's youth. There's that. And that is not the child's fault, by the way. Yes, I talk about perversions. And yes, I talk about mental illnesses. But those mental illnesses are 100% fostered by society and pop culture. 100%. Thank God we have a forgiving Father in heaven that will sort all of this out one day, because we're not going to be able to. Walter says, hey, Rachel. And Rachel says, if someone wants to kill, they will find a way. LOL, gun or not. Agreed.
Yes, Rachel, I agree.
Now, you have to fill out a questionnaire and get a background check before you can buy a gun legally.
And wait 72 hours.
And wait 72 hours. On that questionnaire, there is a question about mental illness. Imagine if the mentally ill were not allowed to buy a gun. I wonder how many problems that would solve. Monkey says, oh, that's the Christian way, I was told. Well, you were told incorrectly. Maybe you should actually show up to Bible study and listen. Unfortunately, there's a lot of bad in Christian societies, too. This ain't one of those places. So I'd appreciate it if you'd actually know what you were talking about before you talked about it. Because what we do here is from the Bible. Walter says, hi, Rachel. Rachel says, hi, Walter.
Yes, Monkey. Love your neighbor like you love yourself. But don't say you have to like you too.
Right. Monkey says, that's not going to deter anybody. What's not?
Arming the schools.
I beg to differ, sir. Like I said, when I was a kid, we had arms in school, and this didn't happen. Ever. Lady B says, we have resource officers and retired vets on all campuses every day. That's not entirely correct. You have those on campuses that allow that. There are a lot of Democrat-run cities that do not allow that. So they are not armed. They may be a resource officer on campus, but they're not armed. Some places they are. Walter Davis says, I was on a road trip and stopped to change a flat tire on a car, and the old lady had a cast on her leg. Sounds like fun. Linda says, Monkey, you can love someone and still not agree with or condone their choices or actions. Right. And Fab Daddy says, I would believe Jake's words more if he didn't put ketchup on his steak. I'm just saying. Hey, I like what I like, Fab Daddy.
At least he doesn't put it on certain things.
And I don't lie about it. I am what I am, and I'm not ashamed of it.
I'd be scared if he put it on other things.
Like what? French fries?
No.
Oh. Amy says, criminals don't follow laws. Right. Ralph Gomez, welcome to the show. And Ralph says 100% of the school shooters were on meds. I don't know if that's true or not, but I would be inclined to believe you.
Did your chat jump?
Lady B says, I meant in my town, Jake. Okay, sorry about that. I don't know. Yes, I guess it did.
You're at 10:09.
10:09, okay. Sorry. Okay, I guess my chat did jump. I didn't see it happen. Rachel says, Fab, I put ketchup on mac and cheese. Gross, but hey. And Fab Daddy says, mac and cheese, that's okay, but steak? Not okay. It's okay for me, and I only do that if I don't have steak sauce. I like the thick and hearty A1 steak sauce. I like my meat to have a little flavor. Lady B says, a new school was built in our town fully equipped with collapsed walls and metal detectors, and armed faculty cost taxpayers millions. That might be a good thing then. I don't know anything about new stuff. I'm talking about patterns from history, by the way. Just if there's anything modern that just happened, I probably don't know about it. Muggy just says, so you only love people who look like you and walk like you and pray like you? It's obvious. Well, it's not obvious because you're incorrect on that. You are acting a little like a victim-minded Ponzi. I don't or haven't said any of those things. Don't claim to know something you don't know. That's obvious.
And damn sure don't know nothing about me.
Rachel says, Fab, true. Seems a bit blasphemous. What, ketchup on steak? Nah. If it's a good steak, I'll take a bite of it before I put something on it, but I like something on my steak. Ain't nothing wrong with that. And Debbie says, Monkey 0, Jake 1. Infinity. 1 plus infinity. Give up, Monkey. You've already lost. And Walter Davis says, I was almost done when a tow truck showed up, and the guy was pissed, and he was pretty big. He saw my gun and got very polite. Funny how firearms make polite society. Agreed. Why was the tow truck driver pissed? What did the cast on the leg have to do with this story? And good job with the guns.
Because he stopped to help an old lady change her tire, and she'd probably called roadside assistance, and Walter had it done by the time roadside assistance got there, so tow truck driver didn't get paid for it. Problem solved.
Makes sense.
And no, Monkey, don't twist my words.
That's all he's got, in case you haven't figured that out yet. I knew that yesterday, but Lady B says, hey, Rachel, hugs. And Rachel says, Monkey, you are becoming almost as annoying as Fab. You are being stupid on purpose. Fab says, Monkey, I can attest to the fallacy of your above statement. See, that's what happens when you're losing an argument. You start switching over to personal attacks and trying to make discredit the opponent because you don't have anything else. You've gotten in over your head. He was in over his head before he started this argument. I warned him twice, last night and tonight, that this would not go the way he wanted it to, and yet he persisted. And as soon as the facts started coming out, he crumbled like an old house of cards. That's the way it works, and that's the price the price you pay for the games you play. I am fair, I am honest, and I try to establish truth on this channel. I do say things you don't agree with because you don't know the truth. That's the reason I'm talking. Once you learn the truth and you still won't see it, that's you. That's not me. But thank you, Fab Daddy, for the support. Rachel says, Fab, heart. And Walter, most tow truck drivers are angry, LOL. They got to drive around in that bouncy truck all day. I'd be angry too. And Fab Daddy says, Nancy, heart. Monkey Juice says, Rachel, I've been here a lot longer than you, Amanda. And Rachel and Amanda are not the same person. And that ought to tell you something. If the person that hasn't been here as long as you can see clearer than you do, maybe that ought to tell you something. Walter says, Monkey, some look up and see the light. Some look down and feel the heat. And Lady B says, the walls in the school that just got built move and they're bulletproof. That sounds like a smart idea, considering we've had situations where people have barricaded themselves in rooms and nobody could get in to get to the shooter. That sounds like a smart move. I'm proud of wherever you live. I'm proud of them for making the effort. At least they're addressing the problem and not going after some anomalous idea that the Democrats have that banning guns is going to fix anything. Rachel says, Monkey, longer wear on Earth. Okay, you're old. Congratulations. Old and stupid. Ouch. And Walter says, I think most of us are in the look down and feel the heat camp. I think it's very possible to be that way in this day and culture because the world is not designed to teach you reality. It's designed to carefully cover up the truth and push you into a fallacy that you live every day. That's why I do what I do, because it's getting worse. I saw it when I was a child. I've seen it all through my life. The problem is it keeps getting worse. I thought it would go away, that this was an experiment, that they'd fail and it'd go away. No, it's getting worse. They're having success. So somebody needs to say something that's true in the world. That's why I'm here. Lady B says, I agree, Debbie. Monkey lost. Monkey says, it's all good, Amanda. I'm just venting. Well, that's your right to do. As long as you don't break the rules, you can vent here all you want. You're welcome. You know that. Because I love you despite the fact of disagreeing with you. And apparently you're either a liberal woman or a black person, because those are the only people that bring race into a situation where race isn't the problem. So let me assuage your fears. I don't hold what you look like or how you pray against you. I'm not judgmental at all. And Rachel says, Monkey, venting what? You just sound dumb or stupid. And Kevin says, hello, Rachel. And Aaron says, oh, dang, I missed a lot. You didn't miss anything. I got called a racist. I guess that's something. And Rachel says, hi, Kevin. And Amanda says, yep, Aaron. Lady B says, amen, Jake. Most of us slur. I don't know what you're trying to say there. Most of us are. I don't know what the last word is. Aaron says, Rachel, glad you made it. And Rachel says, Aaron, thumbs up. Aaron says, good to see you. It's me is here. Hello, it's me. Oh, well, I'd say something. It's about being a lukewarm believer. Well, you can say all you want. That don't make you right. If I was you, I'd get some evidence to back up what you're going to say, and that way there'd be a little weight behind it. But, I mean, you're more than welcome to run your mouth. I'll shoot you down, too. Lady B says, sleep with it and are armed at Walmart. Okay, most of us sleep with a gun and are armed at Walmart. It's the way of life, unfortunately. Right on. I got it now. Well, I'm not armed because I enjoy being armed. That's not it at all. I don't have a particular love of guns, although I do hunt. But I hunt because I want to know where my food comes from, not because I'm an avid hunter. Being armed is a way of life, and it goes way back to biblical times. And it started in the book of Nehemiah. That's the earliest time I can remember being armed as a necessity. Go check that book out. That'll tell you a little bit about what we're living through today. Fab Daddy says, I love everyone in my own special way. So do I, Fab Daddy. I love you too, buddy. And Amanda says,
Not chat jump.
okay, 10:16. You want me to read it for you?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm trying to get there.
Perversion is a form of human behavior which is far from what is considered to be orthodox or normal, although the term perversion can refer to a variety of forms of deviation. It is most often used to describe sexual behaviors that are considered particularly abnormal, repulsive, or obsessive. Amen. Debbie says, before ADHD, kids were given 2 30-minute recesses and an hour and a half for lunch and an hour of PE every day. That is 3.5 hours of activity in a 7-hour school day. Correct. And also, if you were acting up in class, they would put you in the corner with that dunce hat on, and everybody would look at you and call you retarded. And that would teach you not to do that anymore. There's something to be said for that, too. Monkey says, okay, so let's solve this problem. Oh, we're way ahead of you, Monkey. You've lost this argument, and I've already solved it. But go ahead. How about stronger real background checks? Background checks. Well, I don't know if you're aware of this, Monkey. Just being a liberal, I'm sure you're not. We already do that. You have to have a background check before you can buy a gun. It's been that way for 2 decades that I know of. It doesn't matter if you lie. It doesn't matter if you don't put mental illnesses on the background check. It doesn't matter if you won't call a mental illness a mental illness. If you insist that's normal and everybody should accept it and you should subvert your reality and call me by whatever I think I should be called by, background checks don't matter. It only matters if you admit the problem when you see it as a problem. You can background check till your cows come home, till you're happy. You're not going to find anything because it wasn't reported. First things first, let's call a spade a spade. If it's a mental illness, let's call it a mental illness. This is not normal behavior. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Should you give the person who doesn't have normal behavior a firearm? No. Problem solved. Aaron says, I just read everything. Wow.
Criminals
Fast.
Criminals could care less about a law.
Rachel says, Fab, never knew someone could be more annoying than you, but Monkey takes the cake. Monkey's learning. It's possible that he can bounce back. Let's see how it goes. Understand that I deal with tough love. I'm not going to give you a break just because you're a special boy with your special boy pants. I'll tell you how it is, and I'll be hard on you with it. But I do love you, and I will accept you with open arms if you come over to my way of thinking. Simple as that. You decide. Fab Daddy says, Monkey, I don't think people need to ask the government for the right to bear arms. Correct. It is an inalienable right. That means it is not up to you to take it away. Or anyone else. That means God-given, inalienable. It is your right to bear arms. It is not up for discussion. This is settled law. I'm going to have a gun. As long as there's nothing wrong with me, I'm going to continue to have a gun. Walter Davis says, I have watched him. I don't know what we're talking about, but okay. Monkey Juice is retracting messages. I can't read it if you retract it. Aaron says, politics night is at its best. Politics night at its best. Right on. Lady B says, hey, Rachel. And Ralph Gomez says, a lot of the psych nonsense is pushed by a certain group of people. You're not wrong. It was invented by that group of people. Go back and look up the terminology and when it was coined, that phrase, psychology. See who, interestingly enough, do a little study. Why don't you? Take 5 words like transgenderism, like abortion, like anything that the hot topic is right now, and go find out who the first person was that said that word, and look at their last name and tell me if you see a pattern. Just as a matter of consequence, go look and see. Have you ever thought about that, what words mean and where they came from? Words that we use every day, like homophobe, or like Islamophobia. Things like that. Go look those words up and see who the first person was that ever said it, that coined the phrase. And tell me what you come up with. I bet you'll be surprised at the result of that little test. Aaron says, Monkey, my kid's mom is a teacher, so this one is close to home. And Ralph Gomez says, oy vey. Oy vey. Oy vey. Sorry, I had to sound that one out. Mushugana. You should live so long. Linda Davis says, Monkey, how do you do background checks on children? That's a good idea. Good thought. Really, think about what you're saying. The kids are the ones doing the school shootings. Amanda says,
hi, Ralph. Welcome.
Get with the program, young lady. Get your mind off your pot and get on the show.
I was typing.
Ralph says 100% of school shootings have been on meds. I don't know if that's a true statement or not, but I would tend to believe you. And Ralph says, Linda. And Amanda says,
I can get a pew-pew from the streets right now, anytime.
Yeah, illegal people do not care if you have a law on the books that says you can't have a thing. Or else murder wouldn't be a problem, would it? Monkey Juice says, nope, disagree. Well, what's new? Guns in schools ain't gonna deter a crazy person. This is where you got it all wrong, really. Well, I've seen evidence of it happening. What have you? Other than assuming you're right because you're in a bubble and don't ever have reality smack you in the face. I grew up in a school where we could bring our guns in the room and lean them against the wall and then pick them up when we leave without adult supervision because they knew it was our gun and we were going hunting after the school. Right? And nobody got shot, ever. Because if you properly train people how to use guns and what the business end of it does, these problems don't happen. The problem is mental illness. People that go wacko and have lots of issues, and then they go take it out on somebody because they don't have the wherewithal to parse their problems out before attacking people. That's the issue. It's the only issue. I hate to tell you this. It should be mandatory if you have children at the age of 5 or 6, they should start gun training under supervision. Start with a BB gun or something like that and be taught the proper way to handle a firearm, the proper rules, the damage it can cause. That's how I was raised, and I've never shot anybody. Nor has anyone ever shot me.
I remember being about 5 years old, learning how to shoot a BB gun. We used to shoot the paper Publix bag and shoot the circle out of the pea.
Yep.
That's how I was learned.
My kids learned the first time they walked in a house with a toy gun that somebody had bought them, because I don't believe in, giving children toys that shouldn't be toys, like guns. I don't believe in that. That's one thing you could stop doing, is giving your children toy guns and teaching them it's okay to point them at people. Right? Somebody gave my child a gun, and then that child came in the house and put it right in my face and pulled the trigger. And from that day forward, we were at gun training. You're old enough to point a gun at me, you're old enough to learn how to use one. So that's what we did. Guess what? They never did again. They never even played with a toy gun again. Of their own choice. I didn't take it away from them.
There you go, Amy.
Fab Daddy says she has not ever had a parent say, stop indoctrinating my kid, FYI. Well, is she indoctrinating children? She might be one of the good teachers. I can tell you that's a lot of the conversation at these school meetings around here where I'm from. A lot of people are saying that around here. I'm not saying every teacher's bad, but a lot of them are. If your teacher also has a TikTok account, probably a bad one. Amy says, finally took off my bra and let the tatas free. Put on my nightgown, and I'm going to lurk in the background. I'm falling asleep. But you get you some rest, honey. You worked hard and you earned it. You lay back and relax. Drink you a cup of coffee. Because it's time. And Lady B says, amen, Jake. Thank you, Lady B. Amanda says, it will. Because they won't know who is armed and who is not. They run more of a risk of being SHOT. Well, yeah. If you don't tell the bad guys who is armed and who isn't, they don't know who to act up in front of. So they don't. That's how that works. I'm not saying it'll put 100% stop on all actions, but I'm going to tell you, it's a strong deterrent. Most people don't want to end their lives the day they do something stupid. Monkey Juice says, LOL, 72 hours. Massachusetts has a 3-month waiting period. Guess what? 0 mass shootings. I think you need to relook on that front there, buddy. I think you're incorrect on your math. Amy says, a firearm is a tool in the hands of the right person, and in the hands of the mentally deranged person, it becomes a weapon. Well, guns were designed to kill people. That's what they're for. But
Hold on a minute. I just had a brain fart. Did Monkey say Massachusetts and no mass shootings? Wasn't Sandy Hook in Massachusetts?
Look it up. Find out.
And Massachusetts had 28 mass shootings since 2020.
There you go, Monkey Juice.
And Sandy Hook was in Massachusetts.
So, What we've learned here today, Monkey Juice, is that you're a moron that does not know what you're talking about, and you should probably stop doing that. That would be the first help to this situation, is people like you spreading propaganda to people that are listening that don't know the difference and would trust you just because you're you, and you just caused them to err in their way of thinking, which will be like the butterfly effect and reverberate into their future, causing them to do bad things because of your dumbass understanding of the world. That's why I talk and you don't. You understand the difference? It's a matter of responsibility. You can't just start talking. You have to know what you're talking about. And you don't. So if I was you, I would shut up while I was ahead, because you're making yourself look real stupid. Put that in your little pipe and smoke it. Amy says, I read that one. Amanda says, facts, Amy. And Amy says, criminals don't follow the laws. Again, facts. Well, I think you spoke him into existence. Was it Amy that said that about?
Yes.
Yeah. Imagine that. It's almost as if they're connected to Soph in some way. Where am I at, by the way?
I think you're at like 1024.
I got it. 100% of school shooters were on meds, says Ralph. I think you said that before, or I read it before. Lady B says, I meant in my town, Jake. And yeah, I have read that before. Amy says, chat jumped. I got it. I found it. Debbie says, now I want to know if Jake goes spelunking with ketchup.
No.
No. Amy says, hot sauce on mac and cheese. That'd be all right, I guess. Amanda says, no, you don't, Debbie.
No, he
That's
don't,
where
Debbie.
I draw the line.
That's where I draw the line.
Amy says, there are thousands of veterans who are willing to volunteer to guard the schools, and they should let them. Because, number one, veterans are trained with firearms. They know how to use them and keep them from doing things they shouldn't do and getting in the hands of people that shouldn't have them. And number two, they're trained in high-stress situations where they can handle an active shooter. So I think that's a great idea. That would also give the veterans something to do after they come home from a war and can't turn that off. So instead of having PTSD, they could direct that into a direction. So I think that's a great idea. But they also should be vetted. And that's a great solution to the problem. Amanda says, yes, Amy. Fab Daddy says, spelunking and chocolate sauce. Whipped cream works too. Yeah. Gross. Aaron says, driving while listening. Gave my son what he needed. Excellent. Fab Daddy says, Amy, I don't want a bunch of pedos protecting my kids. Volunteers need to be vetted. I said that. They do need to be vetted. Because also, veterans, some of them have problems. Some of them come home broken. You don't want those people. But there are good veterans. There are good people that have a strong head on their shoulders. They have a good service record. And they have a good background history. And they could be good volunteers. But that's that way for everybody, though, Fab Daddy. I mean, you really don't know who the perverted people are. That's one of the problems. We have spent so much time in history avoiding the subject and not calling it what it is, perversion. We have spent so much time not calling it a mental illness that we don't know who's mentally ill. Now, if you go back to the Bible, to Sodom and Gomorrah, where God destroyed 2 entire towns for that very behavior, that's what God thought about it. And he told Lot what? The only good guy in town, he said, leave and don't even look back. Don't even look back. Those people don't exist anymore. That town don't exist anymore. Look forward and keep moving. So that's what we need to do. What we need to do is reinstate wood chipper laws. You get found out that you're a pervert, into the wood chipper. I'm not joking. Amy says, remember the Mayo in Greenwood, Indiana? The mall in Greenwood, Indiana. A good guy with a gun saved a bunch of people. Absolutely. And in Texas, too. The guy that stopped the church shooter. They don't like talking about those guys. Amanda says, way to go, Aaron. Ralph Gomez says, people who want gun control never go to bad neighborhoods and tell gang members to give up their illegal guns. Isn't that interesting, Ralph? And by the way, I don't know if I said this or not, but welcome to the show. Hit that subscribe button if you hadn't done so already. And press the like button, everybody. There's 18 people and 17 likes. That means one person hasn't liked the show. Only one. I wonder if they hit the dislike button. I bet that was Monkey Juice. I'm going to give my thumbs down. I'll show that guy. He's a racist. Oh, I'm so offended. And also, super chats are available in the chat box, and I'm working hard for my love. If you want to, I say if you want to, you can do that. Or hit that CashApp, $ Jake Johnson Band. I appreciate you very much. Amy says, who said anything about pedos, Fab? I said veterans. I think what he meant was is you can't tell who's good and who's not. You need to vet everybody. If they're going to be in charge of children, they should be vetted, and that includes teachers. We should get rid of the teachers' union, privatize teaching, and we should vet everybody that handles our kids. And I would go a step further and have a community meeting with the parents of the kids and have them weigh in on who gets to look after their kids. Because that's one step that we're not doing. We're pushing the parents aside and in some cases telling them that they don't have a say in the matter. And that ain't right. It's my kid. It's my choice how they're raised. It's a little bit aggravating for the institution of school to cater to everybody's needs, but it's necessary. Everybody should be able to raise their children the way they see fit with their ideals and their thoughts and ideologies and values. It's not my place to tell you how to raise your kids. And it's not yours to tell me how to raise mine. And that needs to be addressed. Fab Daddy says veterans can be pedos. True. Amy says, hi, Ralph. Welcome to the show. And you're the one whose mind went there. Now, well, he's not wrong. I get what you're saying, but he's not wrong. Veterans could be astronauts too, says Ralph, right? And Amanda says,
veterans. Where did pedo come from? Veterans.
Again, I think the point he was making is that anybody that's going to look after children, they need to be vetted.
Yes.
And have a good pedigree, because it's very easy. I mean, think about how many priests end up being pedophiles. That's a man of God, a man of the cloth. If they can be a pedophile, anybody can be.
I agree.
Fab Daddy says volunteers can
garner
pedos even if they be veterans. I agree. I don't like to think that about people that are fought for our freedoms, but, you know, it is possible. Amy says, instead of seeing a possible solution, there's a straw. I'm going to grasp it. I see where you're coming from, too. Fab Daddy says, I wouldn't volunteer to be security for a school. I can't stand those little rugrats. Well, they need strong male role models, and you might be just the thing they need. Tough love works too, you know. Ralph says, so volunteers can be anyone. Yes, they can be. Rachel says, LOL, did Monkey switch accounts to Ralph Lamau? I don't think so. Ralph seems to be agreeing with me. Monkey Juice did not. Amy says, just to argue for the sake of arguing. And Ralph says, what? Monkey Juice says, well, Jake, even though we can't agree on absolutely nothing, I still like you and your musical talent. I will be back. Isn't that the Christian way? Yes. It is. And I understand. And I still like you, even though you were dead wrong on everything that you said. It doesn't matter whether you agree with me or not. You need to see the error in your thinking and then correct it. And then you will be agreeing with me more than you know. But you're welcome back. Come on back anytime. I done told you once, you son of a gun, I'm the best there's ever been. So come on back if you ever want to try again. And Fab Daddy says they need to be vetted. Anybody that deals with children need to be vetted. I agree with that statement. But that's not the point of the argument. The argument is there's a lot of good people that would volunteer to look out for the kids that could be armed. And that's a good step forward. We can argue about vetting them after we've agreed that we can use them. And Ralph says, Rachel, what are you talking? And she was just asking because something you said reminded her of something that Monkey said. So she was asking if it was you. Because we've had that problem in here before with people switching accounts to make arguments sound more legitimate. And Lady B says, Amanda, what did you and Jake eat for supper tonight? Ooh, nice. Amanda?
We had fried chicken wings and macaroni salad.
And it was good. And Ralph says, I'm saying his argument doesn't make sense. Amy says, I like Ralph. He's new. I do too. Monkey Juice says, LOL, black person. Nope. Well, it's one or the other. And good night. Good night. I enjoyed the sparring. I appreciate you. Come on back. Lady B says, what did everybody eat for supper? And Rachel says, LOL, bye, Monkey Juice. Amy says, I agree, and they need to be vetted, but it's strange that you went there. Well, yeah, kind of, but we need people that think outside the box, and that's okay. It's okay to think weird thoughts, like I need a cup of coffee, because if you don't have people that think that, things never get done. So there's room for all of that. Amanda says chicken wings and macaroni salad. And Rachel says some trash pasta primavera. It's edible. Debbie said, I had chicken pot pie. Real or from the box? And Fab Daddy says, I've been called strange. Thanks. That's a great compliment. Ralph says, perversion falls into temptation. Yes. If you are perverted, it's very easy to trip you up into temptation, which is why perversion is the problem. Because if you're unflappable, not perverted. It means you don't fall for those tricks. And Lady B says, we love you bunches, Fab. And Amanda says, oh no, I'm out of peppermints. Oh, Jesus. There goes the neighborhood. We'll fix it tomorrow. Fab Daddy says, strange, weird, misunderstood people are my favorite. And they add much to the beauty of the world. I agree with that. I'm one of those people. Strange, weird, and misunderstood. And Lady B says, sounds good, Amanda. And Rachel, pasta prima is nice. Ralph says, critical thinking is what needs to be taught. I agree. There's a very, very, very big lack of critical thinking in the world today. Which is why channels like this exist, because we're trying to promote critical thinking. And you'd be surprised how many people balk at that idea. Actually spew hatred at me for trying to do a good thing for the community. I've had lots of it. I say, bring it on. I can take it. And Ralph says, I'm from Texas. They do background checks, monkey. Everybody does. That I know of. I can't buy a gun unless I go through the FBI check. And Lady B says, Debbie, great idea for a menu next week. What's that? Debbie? That could be a good menu. Amy says, Fab, I said it was strange that you went there. I didn't call you strange. Stop being dramatic. Fab Daddy says, Jake is a drain on my cell phone battery. Time for me to use the clapper. Clap on, clap off the clapper. Well, I am a drain, but I'm only draining because I'm taxing, and I'm only taxing because I'm teaching you stuff. You're getting stuff in your head whether you like it or not. So that's a good thing. Lady B says, hey, Aaron. And Amanda says, inalienable rights. Are you back?
No, I'm trying to find it.
1039.
Inalienable rights are fundamental rights that are impossible to take away or transfer. They are rights that all people are born with and come with corresponding responsibility.
Absolutely. Inalienable means the government cannot take it from you because they didn't give it to you. They are endowed to us by our Creator. That's the most important part of that sentence. And the government is not your creator. So they have no right to take away from you those inalienable rights. Linda says, Fab, in order to volunteer in school, you need to be fingerprinted and have a criminal and child line background checks. I think that's great. And I also think they should be bonded if they're going to work with children. I think everybody that works with children ought to be bonded. That's a big deterrent right there. Lady B says, exactly, Linda. And Patty says, smiley, smiley, smiley. And Lady B says, hey, Patty. And Amanda says,
yes, Linda. My stepmom was a Department of Corrections sergeant and still had to get vetted to do work with the church daycare and the school.
right on. Amy says, hi, Patty. And Lady B says, mine is registered with a permit. And Linda Davis says, yeah, Amanda. Even volunteer firefighters have to get background checks. Right on. Amanda says,
right, Linda?
Lady B says, agreed, Linda. And Fab Daddy says, Lady B, good and shame on you. Shame on her for what?
I think having her gun registered.
No. I think that's a great idea. I think you should have one that is registered and one that ain't. If you're going to straddle the fence, you might as well. Amy says, Red Ryder BB gun. You'll shoot your eye out. If you're not taught to not aim it at your face, you certainly could. And Lady B says, shame on me. Why, Fab? What did I do? Colin Hildebell, speak of the devil. We were just talking about you. Hello, guys. I'm back. Lady B says, welcome, Colin. You're back. It wouldn't be because we mentioned you, is it? Nice to see you, Colin. How are you?
Hi, Colin.
Lady B says, Fab, what did I do? And Amy says, speak of the devil. Hi, Colin. I was asking about you tonight. Isn't it funny how that works? Sophie hadn't been back, has she?
Not yet.
Aaron says, Jake and I are brothers, and I don't like him. Sorry, and I don't look like him. He accepts me. Amen. Ain't got nothing to do with that. I don't care what you look like. And I guess we're talking about the skin thing again. Yeah, that doesn't matter. I can get a tan too. Maybe not as good a one.
We all bleed the same color.
That's right. We're all pink on the inside. And that's right. Aaron is my brother from another mother. Fab Daddy says, asked the government to conceal carry. Well, I understand. There's a difference between having a gun and conceal carrying it. Just because you have a right does not mean that you can do anything you want to, right? I agree with some parameters for owning a gun. I wouldn't want to not know who's armed unless I was in school and that's the thing that was saving my life. That would be okay. But in regular polite society, I would much rather see it on your hip. That way I know who you are and you know who I am. And we can start from there. Amanda?
Lady, probably because you registered your pew-pew.
And Linda says, I got 2 videos today from my grandson doing target practice, and they both are doing good. That's fantastic. How old are they? I really think that's a very important part of a young boy growing up. They should learn about firearms and the safety and all of that stuff. Lady B says, Aaron, smiley. Good idea, Linda. Or good, Linda. Colin says, how have y'all been? Fantastic, Colin. How have you been? And Fab Daddy says, Colin, we talked about you earlier. And hey, buddy. Colin says, hey, Fab. What do you mean earlier? Earlier. Like before now. Monkey Juice says, Sandy Hook was not on... Hold on. My chat jumped.
Sandy Hook was not in Massachusetts, idiots. It's in Connecticut, which it was in Connecticut, but it was right there on the Massachusetts-Connecticut line, so that's why I was thinking Massachusetts.
You mean you made me jump his shit and you weren't correct?
No.
How many shootings did you say occurred?
There was 20-something shootings in Massachusetts. But he said not mass shootings, school shootings. Shooting is a shooting.
Oh, there you go. There are no idiots here, Monkey Juice. Except for one. And I reserve the right to call myself that if I want to. Wow, fuck you, I want an apology. I apologize for jumping your shit about Massachusetts. Or about Sandy Hook. However, there have been 21 shootings in Massachusetts and you said 0. So you deserve what came to you. Even if one detail was incorrect. Jamie, do a better job. Monkey says 0 mass shootings. Amanda, Sandy Hook is in Connecticut. No, 21 shootings. Monkey Juice says message retracted. And Colin said, you're just mad because he speaks the truth. Who are you talking about and who are you talking to?
Monkey.
Debbie says, wanting one hand and shit in the other, Monkey. And let's see which one gets full the fastest. Oh, snap. And Linda says Sandy Hook was in Connecticut. I also thought it was Massachusetts until I looked it up. So apparently the idea was around. It's an easy mistake to make, but we want to be factually correct when we say things like that. There were 21 shootings in Massachusetts since 2001.
No, since 2020.
Since 2020. It's even worse.
28 mass shootings since 2020.
And Colin says, if you don't like it, you can leave. And Colin says, amen, Debbie. And Aaron says, look who they talked up. Colin. And Monkey Juice says, apologize now. Well, Monkey, you see this face? This is the face of a leader, not a follower. And if you think demanding a thing of me is going to make it happen, if I was you, I'd reevaluate where you stand, because that's not going to work. That being said, I've already corrected my mistake and apologized for it.
I did too.
But you were wrong, and you got what came to you because of being wrong. You said 0. That's incorrect. And it's close enough to Massachusetts that everybody thought it was Massachusetts. That's why the mistake was made. Lady B says, Jake is so smart. I enjoy his knowledge. A breath of fresh air. Thank you, Lady B. I appreciate that. Amanda says,
Sandy Hook was Connecticut. My bad.
nope. Massachusetts had 28 mass shootings.
Massachusetts had 28 mass shootings since 2020. Lawmakers must do more to keep kids safe from gun violence. Learn more about what you can do to help your state and community.
That's from a webpage from Massachusetts.
That is from Massachusetts.gov, yes.
There you go. Amy says, Boston Marathon, that was in Massachusetts. I would consider that a mass shooting. The one guy had a mass hit and run. Amy said. And Aaron says, Muggy, who are you cussing at? And Lady B says, Debbie Lamau. And Amanda says, now what, Muggy? Fab Daddy says, I'm glad you corrected that. I was having a butterfly effect. Well, look, I'm not right 100% of the time. I've never claimed to be. I'm relying largely on her to look up things that I run my mouth about because I have a memory, but it don't work so good. So, and occasionally there's going to be a breakdown in communication and I'll get it wrong. If I do get it wrong and I am found to be wrong, I will make the correction because I'm not trying to put out false information. You know, I'm a human being and there's no one on planet Earth that you can listen to that'll get it right 100% of the time. No one. There are people out there that'll pretend like they get it right 100% of the time, and you can believe them that they get it right 100% of the time, but they make mistakes just like I do. That should not deter you from listening. If it does, say la vie. Colin says, speaking of pedos, someone found out that my school board president got caught with explicit photos of children right after graduation. That's more common than you know, Colin. And Debbie says, Amanda, you were close. Both states touch each other. And apparently it was right over the line. Lady B says, I think they're doing chemical castration in Alabama for those. Probably a good idea. Those people don't. I think they should just bypass all that and go straight to the wood chipper if you're proven to be a pedo. I think there's no harm in that. Straight to it. Mulch. No problem. Aaron says, Colin, what's your favorite color? Like I said, Colin is a real person. Very singular in thought, but a real person. I'm not so sure about the other one. Patty says, smiley, smiley. And Colin says, maroon. Well, now I like you because that's my favorite color. Aaron says, why? Just because. Monkey Juice says, I wouldn't do that to you, Jake. I'll give you the thumbs up. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. No, I understand what's going on, and, you know, arguments is as arguments does. Just score 1 point for you. Because you got one. But I got the rest of them. Amanda says, yeah, Debbie. But there, you read that, for sure.
Yes, Debbie. But there has been mass shootings in Massachusetts, so he's not exempt.
Aaron says, elaborate. I'm interested. And Colin says, because we have 2 maroon trucks. Yeah, Colin is a real person. I've looked into him. I haven't looked into the other one, but I will. Linda Davis says, Colin, are you back to school yet? Monkey Juice says, let me Let me alliterate. No school shootings. Mass shootings is 3 or more fatalities. Well, maybe your state is just lucky. And every city has mass shootings. Incorrect. My city hasn't had any. Colin says, yes, ma'am, Linda.
Our city hasn't had any because we're all country folks that wear guns.
That's correct. Yeah, down south, you don't have that problem like you do up north. You ever notice that? I wonder why. What's the common denominator between the south and the north? A lot less of that stuff happening down here. It still happens, but it ain't nearly as prevalent. Aaron says, what kind of trucks? And Linda says, Colin, what grade are you in this year? And Colin says, a Ford F-150, 5.409. And both the same engine and year.
Ford F-150, 5.4 liter, 09.
Mm-hmm. Right. But one has a camper sleeper, says Colin. And he said both of them are the same truck, Aaron. And they're both F-150s, 5.4 liters. And Amy says, I'm sorry, I misunderstood what you were saying, Fab. And Patty says, smiley, smiley, smiley. And Colin says, the one we haul junk with can tow 11.3 K. That's 11.3 thousand. Aaron says, what do you do when you're not scrapping or cars, Colin? Colin says, antiques. Aaron says, at 13? Colin says, I'm 15. He's been here for a few years. Aaron says, still? Well, what's wrong with that? And Colin says, Jake's antique. Damn. I'd like to argue with you, but I can't. You're correct. I am over 20 years old. Aaron says, Colin says, smiley, smiley, smiley. And Amanda says, Amy says, good night. I'm exhausted and not thinking straight. Amy, God bless you, sweetheart. We love you. Have a great night. Get you some rest, honey. We'll see you for Bible study. Patty says, it will make a turd, someone told me. What will? Linda says, good night, Amy, heart. And Debbie says, homemade chicken pot pie. Oh, yeah, that's the right kind. Good stuff. And Colin says, hey there, Fab. Aaron says, Debbie, now I'm hungry, right? And Colin says, Aaron, what do you do? What do you do for a living? Kevin says, I'm calling it a night. Good night, everybody. Kevin, thank you for being here, brother. Good night, and God bless you, and I'll see you tomorrow night.
Night, Kevin.
And Linda says, good night, Kevin. And Aaron says, Colin, please rewrite your question. I don't understand. I think he was asking, what do you do for a living? And Colin says, Aaron, what do you do for income? Right. What do you do for a living? Aaron says, robotics engineering and AI. Colin says, how far back is he? He's right behind you. Turn around and look. You might not see him unless he smiles, though. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Linda says, Colin, Aaron is a very intelligent man. Jordan Scott Mills, what's up? Long time no see. Howdy, chat. Nice to see you, Jordan. We've been getting a bunch of people tonight that hadn't been here in quite a while. It kind of makes me take notice. Amanda says, hi, Jordan. And Aaron says, Linda, thank you for that. I'm the same as everybody here. And Jordan says, hey, Amanda.
About 15 minutes, Colin.
It might be longer. My chat just jumped. All right. Jordan says, concealed carry is constitutional. I think you're right about that. Linda Davis says, Aaron, you are a diamond among men. Aw. Heart. That's a sweet statement right there. Ain't nobody ever called me a diamond.
Lies. I call you all kind of things.
Linda says, my grandsons are 9 and 4, and that is the perfect time to start them with target practice. That's congratulations on that. Aaron says, oh, wow. I don't know what to say. Say thank you. And Colin says, I got a new dog. Sweet. What kind? It's me says, I should get an apology as well, but for another reason. It's me. You're not going to turn this into something about you. Stop it now. Nobody owes you an apology. You brought on yourself what you got. Colin says, it's a Belgian Melanaise. Malloy. And he is 3 months old. I got a new dog too, Colin. It's a part Chihuahua, part Shih Tzu. It's a Shitwawa. And Lady B says, oh, what's his name, Colin? And Colin says, it's me. You don't need an apology. And his name is Jax. Lady B says, Jax is a nice name. Colin says, be a man. It's me. Lady B says, Colin says, thanks, Lady B. And Lady B says, certainly, Colin. Anytime, dear. And Linda says, Colin, those are very smart and energetic dogs.
Very.
And Lady B says, I love the videos on those dogs. I don't think I've ever seen one.
Yeah, you have. They look like a German Shepherd. A lot of the sheriff's departments use them.
Chewy pedo mulch, says Colin. Yes. Problem solved. And you could start a dog food company. How about that? Put 2 and 2 together. That's pretty gross, but I like it. It's a good idea. A good solution. Doesn't cost taxpayer a thing. It even makes money. You could lower the deficit with veto money. Just through the wood chipper, dog food. People buy it, $20 a bag. Put that money towards the. Yep, I like it. Thank you very much, government. I'll be accepting checks all week. Fab Daddy says, I took a guitar break. Let's talk about Russia attacking the U.S. company in Ukraine. Really? I don't know anything about that yet. Tell me what you know. Aaron says, Colin, what do you think about the topic? And Linda says, wood chipper, 100%. Right on. Colin says, and Linda, I'm in the 10th grade. And what topic? Oh, well, right now, the topic is whatever you want it to be, but previously it was about school shootings and such. Lady B says, can y'all fill me in on can y'all fill me on color? Is there symbolism or something? My favorite is hot pink. No, there's no symbolism. It just the first question in the Turing test is what is your favorite color? When you're trying to establish whether or not a robot has sentient thought, whether it actually is alive or if it's just pretending to be alive. That's the context why you felt like there was something weird to the question, what is your favorite color? Because there is a person in chat that is not a person. I'm pretty sure of it. I don't know for certain, but I'm pretty sure. Aaron says, it's me. Thank you for behaving yourself. And Linda Davis says, I'm in the redneck north and no mass shootings here either. Right on. Yeah, it's not just being north. There just happens to be a lot of liberal thought north of the Mason-Dixon line and out west too. And there's a lot of it down south also, but there's more down-to-earth Christian people down south, which is why this isn't the biggest problem down south. Monkey Juice says, apparently Jake doesn't live in Orlando. Right, Amanda? With mass shootings. I do not live in Orlando. And even I did, I wouldn't be in Orlando because they moved it. That's a deep joke. You'll get that. Aaron says, you ask a bot a direct question and tell it to respond directly to a person, and it can't. Right. A robot, no matter how smart it is designed to appear, it can only do what it's programmed to do, which is to please the person it's trying to benefit. It doesn't have its own feelings. And if you trip it up and corner it to where it has to answer a question, it does not have a definitive answer. It cannot, because it's not alive. And there's a series of questions designed to cause that exact thing to happen, a breakdown of the system. And that's called the Turing test. And that's what I was beginning to administer, which did not happen because it vanished. The moment I ask it to respond directly to me. Aaron says, Muggy, I'm close to there. What does that mean? Aaron's saying, I live pretty close to Orlando. What do you mean by that statement? Why does Orlando mean anything? Monkey Juice says, Monkey lives in Mount Dora. Ah. Interesting. I don't know where Mount Dora is.
It's Orlando.
But I'm pretty sure it has a backpack and a Mexican cousin.
It's just outside of Orlando.
Okay.
But the one mass shooting in Orlando was the Gay Pride Club.
Oh, I see.
It was a hate crime, and at the point, we don't live in Florida.
Yeah. I don't live in Florida because Florida's full of crazy people. Patty says, good night, Miss Amy Elizabeth. And Lady B says, good night, Amy. Hassan Shanawani says, hey. Hello, Hassan. Welcome to the show. Hassan says, no, don't leave. Who? Who are you saying not leave? Monkey Juice says, black on black mass shootings every week in Orlando and Winter Park. Ah. Well, yeah, that happens a lot in the black community, and there's a reason for that, too. And if you want to get into it, we can, but it's not necessary. It's pretty obvious. Everywhere violence rears its ugly head, there is a common denominator as to why that thing is happening. And if you step back and look, you can narrow it down pretty closely to what the root cause is of that problem. Because violence is not the typical state of a society. That's not normal. That's a perversion of safety and peace. See how that works? Anytime you have an outburst of violence, there's a reason for it. Something caused it. It's not a normal behavior. So what causes violence? Why is there so many black people killing black people? And it's big. It's everywhere. It's way, way higher than anything else. We're focused on the cops killing black people right now because that's what's in the zeitgeist. But that ain't even 10th on the list of things closer. It ain't. It's just not a problem. Not if you look at the numbers. What is a problem is violence amongst themselves. Now, why is that? Well, if you break it down to its barest necessity, the biggest problem is the lack of the father in the home. Because when you have a father that rights the ship, these things don't tend to become a problem. Because when they reach the age of, some sort of rite of passage, the father usually puts them to work or corrects their behavior because that's what a good father does. And the lack of that also means that the mother has been subsidized by the government, put on welfare, and farmed the raising of the child out to the state, effectively making them wards of the state, which could care less about their well-being in the first place, meaning they just get enough to survive, not enough to thrive, and the education system is broke, so they don't learn how to get out of that hole, and they get led into violence. Gang affiliation, because they're looking for somewhere to belong, and that gives them a false sense of belonging. Stop me if I'm wrong, anybody that's lived it. That's why you have that problem. You really want to go into it? You really want to see why you are screwed up?
And not just that, they keep telling them the more babies you have, the more money you get. So they just keep popping babies out.
Right. Absence of fathers. That's the problem. Absence of God, first problem. Absence of father, the second problem. Absence of mother, the third problem. Because of the subsidizing from the government. We should end welfare. We should end that. There are people out there that need assistance, and those people should get it on a person-to-person basis. But anybody driving a Cadillac should not have welfare. Put it that way. Then we should put the onus back on the father to stay in his role as father when he has a child. Make it bad to have children and then leave. You think I'm wrong? Go back and look prior to Lyndon Baines Johnson. Look at the black community statistics in the 40s and the 30s and the 20s. Black families were staying together. They were married longer. They had children that grew up in a household with both parents. They were business owners. They were landowners. They were prospering. They were involved in the community. They were involved in the government. Then comes Lyndon Baines Johnson and puts them back on the plantation, so to speak. Don't believe me? Go look it up for yourself. It's not a topic that I really care to talk about because it's irrelevant. But if you want to know, that's the reason. And Amanda says,
It's a big old messed up town.
Lady B says, good night, Kevin. Did Kevin leave?
Yes.
I guess he did. Yep. Fab Daddy says Columbine High School was the start of school shootings. What two things can you derive from the Columbine shooting? Pardon me. Number one, they were on SSRIs. Number two, they were big proponents of evolution. One of them was wearing a shirt that said, I'm a product of natural selection. No God plus meds. School system teaching them that they're no better than the animals, that they have no purpose in life, that there's no higher value to aspire to, that they're just chance. Random cosmic joke. Yeah, it's a wonder people go crazy. Amanda says, and we don't live in Florida. You say that.
And we don't live in Florida.
And then my chat jumped. Where am I at?
11:22.
Aaron says, dude, if you keep going on this black thing, we're going to have a talk. I think I handled it, maybe. How do you think I handled it? Colin says, especially me. I have not been here in a while. Yeah, we were just talking about you earlier tonight, Colin. I'm glad you dropped in. And Fab Daddy says, can I be a fly on the wall for that conversation, Aaron? And Monkey Juice says, Amanda, you're not in Florida anymore? Amanda's in the next room where I'm at, not in Florida. And Debbie says, Aaron, if I said you had a black, beautiful body, would you hold it against me? I am, Debbie. And Amanda says,
Now my chap jumped.
11:23. No
monkey.
Aaron says, Fab, you can.
I live with Jake.
Aaron says, Debbie, I wouldn't. Oh. Monkey Juice says, sorry to hear that, Amanda. LOL. Good luck with that. LOL again. Are you suggesting that there's a problem with her living with me? Or that she's done something to her life because of it? Ask her what she thinks about that.
It's in there.
Do you care to respond?
I'm quite happy where I'm at. The whole reason I left Florida was to be with Jake and to start a new life.
And how's that going for you?
Great.
Monkey Juice says he's kidding. Fab Daddy says, I've had quite a few sit-downs with black folks. I also am not afraid to say I am a racist. Are you? But that's only because I trained that way by my environment. Well, I'm not a racist. I don't hate anybody worse than the other person. I hate everybody equally. Monkey Juice says, yep, the heat is sometimes way too much, Amanda. I want out sometimes also. Oh, she didn't leave because of the heat. She left because of the heat, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Aaron says, well, keep that shit to yourself. Who? Who you talking to? Colin says, Fab, all I got to say is there a difference between black people and YK?
You know.
You know. I don't. There is no difference. Black is not a race. It's a color. Color, last time I checked, doesn't have any influence on how a thing is. Unless you're talking about greens and then, bleh. Fab Daddy says, Debbie says, Fab, anything learned can be unlearned. If you're a racist, it's because you want to be. I agree with that. And racism, as it sits, as we understand it, is not a good way to think. It's not evolved thinking. It's also not beneficial to your health. It's also a little silly because we kind of went past that in the 80s. And thanks to Barack Obama, all of it came flooding back out again. But you go look in the 80s, the top 5 entertainers in the world were black men. And there were a couple of black women in there too. And everybody was okay. It was kind of looked at like a joke. And then it became serious again all of a sudden. I don't think that was a good move. Does racism exist? Absolutely it does. Is it around every corner? No. Most people are over that. That was a bad, ill-informed idea in the first place. Amanda says,
I was born there. Nothing left there for me. I wanted a new, better life, and I have it now.
There you go. And Aaron says, I hate everyone the same. Exactly. I'm not a racist. I hate everybody. Fab Daddy says, Putin played Trump. I know that Trump wants to end wars, but he hasn't. I remember him saying he could end it in 24 hours when campaigning. Well, as campaigns go, look over the campaign history of the world, and everyone who has ever campaigned to anything has always promised everything up front when campaigning. That's how you win elections. And then you work back from the wild statement to something more realistic. That's just how it works, especially with Trump, who does that quite often. No, he didn't end it in 24 hours because variables. Not because of anything he's doing. It's what they're doing. If they listen to him, if they do what he's supposed to be doing, he could do it. It's that simple. He didn't realize that there was as much going on there as is. So see, that's the problem with the left. They don't know what they're talking about in the first place. They started this problem, and they have no idea that on the other side of this problem, there's over 2,000 years of trauma built up that they have to work through that we don't know anything about. We opened this can of worms, and now it's going to take a while to put the genie back in the bottle. I understand that. And Putin may have played Trump. I don't know the details yet. I haven't seen what's transpired lately. The one thing I did hear was about the moon, that Trump was hoping to get Russia together with NASA to work on the next trip to the moon, and Russia sided with China instead, working with China's space station, and shunned America, which was not an ideal outcome. That's not what Trump wanted. That's the only thing I've heard. I don't know what this war thing is you're talking about, but fill me in and I'll know. And Patty says, nothing wrong with wanting a new and better life, Miss Amanda. Amanda.
Thank you, Miss Patty.
Fab Daddy says, India's Prime Minister Modi is not accepting Trump's calls because Trump proclaimed he created the truce in Pakistan. He did? He did. Linda says, I'm racist against ignorant assholes and idiots. I hear you. Well, that would be ignorantist, not racist. Assholist. Idiotist. Although those words are much funner to say, too. Patty says, I quit watching news, and I tell you nothing is any different when I'm able to watch again. Right on. Yeah, it's very hard to get truth from the news. There's one side or the other. They're going to spin it their way. You really got to listen to the news and then listen to 100 other sources and then look down the middle of your blurred vision to find some semblance of what might be true. Because news ain't news anymore. It's opinion. And Debbie says, Fab, there was a peace deal. Putin signed it, and Zelensky went to the White House to sign it. Remember when Zelensky caught flack for not wearing a suit? Zelensky backed out because of the Democrats. Yep, that was then. That's what started all of this not doing the thing that Trump said he was going to do. And if it hadn't been for Zelensky doing that, Trump would have ended the war then. Even Putin said that if he was president last term, the war would have never started. Debbie says, told him to. What you say about that? The Democrats told him to not sign the deal. Right. Told Zelensky not to sign the deal. And Patty says, Miss Amanda, smiley, smiley. Fab Daddy says, and Gaza is still going. He didn't stop Azerbaijan. Well, talk is cheap. Let's see what happens. It's not for lack of trying, I can tell you that. No one, by the way, expected him to work miracles. All we ask is that he put his efforts towards it, and that's what he's been doing. So you can't account for what the other guy's going to do. Trump is doing what he's supposed to do.
What number are you at?
1131, and it has nothing to do with Trump, Fab. Colin says, my mom and dad are separated since I was like 10. I know, I remember you telling us about that. Monkey Juice says, 100% agree with that, Jake. Parents need to be accountable. Yes, they do. And Aaron says, did you get that fence done? Who are you talking to?
Colin.
Oh. Fab Daddy says, I think Trump wants to end wars, but spouting he stopped 7 wars is ridiculous. He did. That's what he's been doing for the past 2 months. Amanda says,
He has, Fab.
Okay, which ones? The ones that you know about.
They're posted in the chat.
Fab Daddy says, Google that up for me. Google has never lied to anybody.
I don't use Google anyway, but nice try.
Lady B says, baby mama and baby daddy situations. Yes. And Aaron says, Jake's parents? Question mark. My parents? What about them? Are you asking if I have parents? I don't have. They're both dead. I'm all alone in this world. Monkey Juice says, see, we do agree on some things. Don't have 10 kids and leave. Agreed. And Patty says, start with welfare in Washington, D.C., the biggest. I agree. Well, Trump is clamping down on Washington, D.C. right now. And so far, that's having a positive effect for the people in D.C., not so much for the news. They hate it. But the people that actually live there are loving it. And Debbie says, research it, Fab. He has. Just because men don't air it, don't mean it didn't happen. Try again. Right on. Sorry, just because MSM don't air it. Right. Yeah, MSN ain't going to tell you the whole truth there, Fab Daddy. You need to look beyond MSDNC and CNN and MSM. You need to look at the actual articles that are written from the ground in those places.
Go to the source.
Go to the source.
Watch a press briefing.
And Fab Daddy says, Debbie, which ones? Well, you can start with the press briefing of the United States of America. The press secretary, that's her job, is to put out the information for the news people to write stories about. So go to the source. That's where all of the stories come from, and then they spin it to whatever direction they want to from there. But if you listen to her talk, you'll get the most truth from her. Beyond that, you can go to the places and read about what's happening in the places from the people that are in the places. My chat, I found it. Monkey Juice says, okay, for the third time I'm leaving. Definitely. Good night. Well, I'm glad you're having a good time tonight, Monkey. And definitely leave or don't. I can't leave until I get closer to the bottom. So enjoy your night. Linda says, good night. And Fab Daddy says, all I'm saying is Trump's grandiosity with numbers is ridiculous. Drugs will be 1,500% cheaper. Maybe Trump has declined in his old age. You're wrong.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. Trump has said closer things to the truth than anybody else has said.
Name one president that has done half of the amount of stuff that Trump has done in 7 months than they did their whole term. Name one.
Which you can't do because Trump's been balling since he's been in office. Now, has he got 100% of everything the way he wanted it? No. Well, that's nature. That's the way the world works. You don't always get what you want. A good negotiation is where both people walk away from the table with a little something but not completely happy. That's a good negotiation. So obviously he starts off with the unattainable ask, right? If you read Art of the Deal, you'd know this. But Trump has a tactic. He throws out the most outlandish thing he can think of. If he wants something, he'll ask for 3 times what it is and then work his way back to something negotiable. That's the tactic that he uses. And he uses it every single time, and every single time the Democrats fall for it. They can't help themselves. Look, he said such and such. Yeah, but look what he achieved.
And unfortunately, there's no cure for stage 4 TDS.
Right on. And Aaron says, peace. Jeffrey Bean, welcome back. He says, what kind of cigarettes do you smoke? Jake cigarettes. I make these. I make my own cigarettes. Fab Daddy says, too many ises in that last statement. Sorry. Okay, I see what you're saying. 3 of them. Lady B says, DE. QP, your turn. Aaron says, no dads in poor areas kept that way. Yes. When I said the Lyndon Baines Johnson thing, I was trying to lead you to thinking the government caused this situation. It started with Lyndon Baines Johnson. Go listen to what he said about black people during the Jim Crow era. Go and listen to what he said. You tell me what you get from what he said. And the Democrat Party has been following that logic ever since. That's why These areas are the way they are. The fact that they're poor is because they're designed that way. The projects were designed to be outside of the city limits on purpose, to keep them away so that all the bad stuff that's going to happen to them won't affect everybody over here. That's what that's what they are. Right? And it's like an asylum for the damaged people. But who damaged them? Why are they damaged? You got to go back over here and look for that. And when you figure it out, let me know. Amanda says,
My chat jumped.
11:37. Cambodia and Thailand and India and Pakistan and Israel and Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda, America and Azerbaijan. Just a few, Fab. And Aaron says, Jake, facts. Thank you, sir. It's really, really hard to talk about that without sounding racist because most people won't wait till the punchline. They just hear the first part and they're like, oh, you must hate me. No, listen to what I'm saying. There's a reason I'm putting it that way because it came out that way. It's a really hard topic to talk about. And it really sucks that it's that way. But it is that way. And there's only one way to fix it. Stop voting Democrat. Colin says, wait. Who's the woman with Jake in the room? That would be my wife. That's Miss Amanda, the bandhammer. Patty says, smiley, smiley, smiley. And Amanda says, LOL, Colin. Me? Yeah, you. Aaron says, go back to the pickups. Go back to the pickup station when they made the boxes. They just took liquor off the card. Fab Daddy says, that's 4, and he didn't barter the ceasefire in India, so 3 now, and I will search how they happened, but that still is not 7 wars. Everything is BS. Don't use my line. That's my line. Now, first of all, if you're looking at Democrat sources, they're obviously going to tell you that someone else did it. But it's Trump that caused the situation that caused it to happen, which means it's his fault that it happened, no matter how you look at it. Yes, someone else may have signed the paperwork, but it's because of Trump that it occurred. It's because of the lack of Trump that it started in the first place. So, those two things correlate. You got to be smarter than that, Fab Daddy. Quit reading the bait that they're feeding you and look between the lines. Debbie says, Fab, maybe you have TDS and should fact check before you pass on falsehoods. And Fab Daddy says, my racism is not derived with hate, just a knowledge of difference. Well, what difference? What are you talking about? There's no difference. If you're talking about bloodlines and sub-Saharan African descent and that sort of thing, yeah, there's a difference in culture. That there's no difference in humanism. They're both humans. There is a difference in cultures. Cultures can be manipulated. They're also a product of their environment. Change the environment, change the person. There's no difference between people. There's education levels. There's common sense. There's street smarts. There's the way people act when they're oppressed. There's a way people act when they're, tempered. And there's a way people act when they can get away with anything. That's just the way the world works. That has nothing to do with skin color, though. Person is as person does. And once again, everybody, here's the Facebook page if you guys want to go check it out. The link is in the chat. Scroll up and get it if you need it. And please do like, subscribe, share, support, join, and if you can, I've been a good dog. And Debbie says Trump has claimed credit for setting conflicts between India and Pakistan, Israel and Iran, Egypt and Ethiopia, Thailand and Cambodia, Serbia and Kosovo, Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Correct. Aaron says, well, at least you know. And Fab Daddy says, yeah, man. And Aaron says, at least you're not fake about it. And Amanda says, Serbia and Kosovo, Egypt and Ethiopia, Armenia and Azerbaijan, Thailand and Cambodia, Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo, Pakistan and India, Israel and Iran. There's 7. And that's why. And yes, he was directly responsible for every one of those things occurring. Whether he did it or not is irrelevant. And Fab Daddy says, I am real and I like a good racist joke. I do too. If it can be told in good spirits. I think jokes are universal. They're the universal release valve of the world at large. When pressure gets too hot, mock it. That's the best thing to do for that situation. It gives people hope. It gives them a chance to regain their strength and persevere through whatever's pushing them down. That being said, there's a lot of people out there telling jokes that is not in good spirit. And Aaron says, nothing wrong with that. And Amanda says,
Speaking at the White House on 18th of August, where he was pressed by European leaders to push a ceasefire, he claimed, I've ended 6 wars. All of these deals I've made without even the mention of the word ceasefire. The following day, the number he cited has risen to 7 wars. The Trump administration says a Nobel Peace Prize is well past time for the peacemaker in chief, and he has listed the wars he has supposedly already ended. Or supposed to already end.
And Aaron says, reverse. Woke is stupid too. Either side is dumb. Agreed. Too many people claiming moral superiority when all of us are in this heap together just trying to keep our head above water. Nobody's superior to anybody else. We're all just living this life, and it all ends at the same way, death. I don't care if you're black, white, Mexican, whatever you are. It all ends in death. So you take your rebel flag and your Malcolm X and put them over top of each other. It doesn't matter. We're the same thing. Human beings. Everybody's different. Everybody has good qualities and bad. It's how you deal with them that makes the difference. I don't care what kind of man you are. When you face me face to face, I will give you a certain amount of respect and leeway until you break that bond. And then I will either dominate you or you will have to kill me. But I don't care what color you are. Patty says, it's only about not being able to understand difference in cultures. If we could just stop and think first. I agree. Aaron says, right, Patty. Yeah. Aaron and I come from different worlds. We may have completely different backgrounds and we may respond to stimuli differently. But in our hearts, we've opened up an avenue of communication and found that we're more alike than different. And we've become friends because of it. Doesn't matter what color he is. Doesn't matter what color I am. What matters is he respects me and I respect him, and that's all that matters. That's the way we should treat everybody. And if a thing comes up that is black or white or whatever the difference is, I imagine we'll both go, I didn't know that was a thing. Moving on. Fab Daddy says Musk, that his AI Grok was too woke, so he turned it into a Hitler bot. Okay. I don't depend on Musk to save the world or anything. I don't understand why that's a problem. And again, I've told you from the get-go, AI is going to be a problem. Did you expect anything less? Do you not write it down when I tell you things? Because 10 years ago, I was talking about this on this channel before AI actually became a thing, when it was still in its infancy. I told you, have you not seen the movies? Do you not know how this is going to end? You can't trust it. You can't reason with it. It can't be stopped. It doesn't eat. It doesn't get tired. It will just keep coming and coming. And see what I'm saying? Pay attention. Colin says, Aaron, I did finish the fence. Excellent. And Aaron says, you are loved anyway, Fab Daddy. Even if you are a racist, I still treat you the same. Right on. And that's what we have to do as people. Every man in this chat needs to hear me when I say this. How you treat people is what matters. Other people, you're not responsible for what they do. You're responsible for what you do. And if you claim to be untethered, if you're part of this community, then you go forth and treat people with respect and dignity, and you give as good as you get. If they come at you with hatred, then you give it right back. But you always lead with the foot of positivity and love, regardless of what their hang-ups are, even if you know them. Even if that person's a Ku Klux Klan member, you show them respect because they're a human being until they disrespect you, and then you dominate them. Period. You raise above the clout. That's the only thing that's going to change the world, is if communities start acting like communities. It can't be done by one person. And Patty says, dang, I should not get this riled at midnight, right? Aaron says, did they pay you, Colin? And Colin says, no.
LOL, Patty.
Debbie says, Fab, what I posted earlier was only the beginning of the list. I can't copy and paste the whole thing. Go look it up and help your TDS. There you go. Post it on the Untethered Live page, Patty.
Well, I went and pulled it from the White House .org itself, or .gov. $11:48.
11:48. Man, chat just keeps getting longer and longer.
Yep, that's after midnight.
Is it? Wow. All right, here we go. Aaron says, Fab, they are shutting down Grok. How about that? Patty says, Jake, you were not alone. Miss Amanda is by your side, hun. And Father above. Thank you, ma'am. And that is correct. Amanda says, that's right. No, Amanda, you say it.
That's right, Patty, and I will never leave his side. He's worth it.
Thank you. Aaron says, real love. Fab Daddy says, cool, Aaron. My homophobia isn't about hate either. I don't think hate is good for the soul. I treat people with respect. Oh, that's right. Well, then you're not either of those things. And unless you have an irrational fear of homos, you're not homophobic either. Aaron says, well, I guess that's all you can do, Fab. Right on. And Jeffrey Bean says, hell yeah. Right on. Aaron says, Jeffrey, add context to that. What are you hell yaying?
Your cigarettes.
Oh, probably making my cigarettes. Fab Daddy says, Trump is doing too much and not bringing down grocery prices. I don't know where you live, but my grocery prices have come down.
He lives in Chicago. California. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's the problem. And by the way, why would you think he's doing too much? Isn't that what he signed up to do? As much as he can? And Amanda says,
it was about Jake's cigarettes.
Patty says, separate but equal. Debbie says, unless they are President Trump, in that case, Fab has no respect. But he has falsehoods he likes to share. Fab says he ain't going to be able to run from Epstein and his involvement, no matter how many distractions he creates. Well, this is already settled. He's not involved. Did you not hear Ghislaine Maxwell say he has done nothing wrong in her presence?
Yeah, I'd run too when the shit gets deep, Fab.
Amanda says,
LOL, wow. Doing too much. Come on, Fab. And the food prices have come down. Maybe not in California because they are ran by a fucking dumbass.
Patty says, you are correct, Fab Daddy. Fab Daddy says, Gavin is my hero, and his hands aren't tiny. Nobody said his hands were tiny. They said that about Trump.
He wasn't involved with Epstein. Trump turned Epstein in for being a creep.
Yeah. The thing you don't seem to understand is the reason Epstein was arrested in the first place is because of Donald Trump. There was no involvement. He's the one that got him arrested. Then the people that were running him stepped in, which Donald couldn't have known at that time, that he was a government asset, and they told the prosecutors to let him go. And so they did. But that set in motion the things that happened now. Because now the cork's out of the bottle and information started leaking and it was unstoppable, like a dam breaking. So Trump actually started the Epstein stuff. And Debbie says, more lies, Fab. Don't you ever learn? We have already discussed this ad nauseum, and you still tell the lies. Amanda says,
Gavin is a retarded idiot and will ruin California more than it already is.
Patty says, he has so far. Where are all of his last administration players? Anybody? Hey, Jeffrey, thanks for the subscription, man. Appreciate you. Fab Daddy says, Amanda, Trump turned him in because Epstein snatched a property from Trump, and Trump didn't like that. Epstein got a sweetheart deal in Florida, but got arrested in New York in 2019. Yeah, he got that sweetheart deal because he was working for the government, and they told him to give him the sweetheart deal. Doesn't matter why Trump did it, he did it. And I don't think you can prove that that's why he did it in any way. I think that's just something that you Democrats say because it sounds bad. But you got any evidence of that? Because the evidence is Trump is the reason he got arrested. Doesn't matter why. Aaron says, was Kennedy as good as they say? I wasn't born yet. Kennedy was seen as good, but I think he was involved in some pretty shady stuff. The reason he got taken off of the board is because of the Bay of Pigs, because they started a war without his permission and his knowledge, and then when it came time, he did not offer them the air support that they were counting on, and a bunch of people got killed. That's the thing that happened there. And so the Cuban Missile Crisis and all that. So that's what caused the animosity that eventually led to his being taken off the board. And who did that? The government. The FBI, the CIA, the mob, probably all of the above.
LOL, no, Fab.
Kennedy was seen as King Arthur, and Camelot was America, that kind of view of him at the time. He was a Democrat, though, so go figure. Hope that helps. Patty says, Aaron whore. What?
I think she's saying Kennedy was a whore.
Yeah, he was a whore. Definitely. He was banging the ladies for sure. Debbie says, Fab, did you pull that one out of your ass? Because that is not true. Fab Daddy says, yes, Amanda. He was charged in Florida, home arrest, 2004. Yes, because of Trump. Patty says, but whomever is in the office will be there because the Lord wants them there. I agree with that too. I do think the Lord picks our leaders. and our judges. And Fab Daddy says Epstein fled the country afterwards and was arrested in 2019 at a New York airport. He landed at flying from France. Well, why do you think he left? You're saying all the stuff after the thing that I said was the reason, but why do you think all that happened? Oh, because you just watched an interview with Epstein's biographer, who definitely has it in his interest to tell all the bad things about Epstein, right?
Okay, he wasn't arrested with Trump, but that's because Trump saying when he was doing pedo things, and Trump banned him from all of his properties.
Yeah, the reason Trump got Epstein arrested was because Epstein was trying to recruit the ladies that worked at Mar-a-Lago. That's why that happened. That had nothing to do with a property thing. There may have been properties involved because that's how rich people do business. But that is not why that transpired.
No, he was messing with one of Trump's massage girls at Mar-a-Lago.
There you go. And Linda says, I'm going to say good night to all you all. See you all tomorrow at 8 p.m. for Bible study. Linda, God bless you, sweetheart. I'm not far behind you. I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Night, Linda, hun.
Amanda says,
Maxwell even said Trump wasn't involved with any of that. Trump was a good guy. Read Maxine's interview.
Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yeah, read Maxwell's interview.
Aaron says, Linda, thank you for coming.
Night, Linda.
Debbie says, I'm beginning to think that Fab is being willfully ignorant. I think Fab's on the right side of things. I think he just likes stoking the fire. And Fab Daddy says, if you believe anything Maxwell says, I can't help you. Yes, the coffee Maxwell is good, but why is your coffee talking to you? Well, first of all, you are not here to help me. It's the other way around. You don't seem to see your place in the hierarchy of things. So I don't need your help. I'm offering you the help. Second of all, if you'll go back and watch the show that you missed, clearly you missed it because I said anything that Ghislaine Maxwell says is suspect because she's in prison and he holds the key to getting her out of prison. So clearly she's not going to say anything bad against him. That being said, she did say he was the good guy in all of this, and that is used as testimony. Testimony is held up in court, so there you go. I don't need her testimony to know that because I know what transpired before that. I know what her involvement was. I know who her daddy is and his involvement. I know the players outside of what's going on right now that you don't know. That's why I'm sure about what I know. And Fab Daddy says, Linda, do you see that you aren't alone? She sees. And Amanda says,
Yes, Debbie. Or he's just got one of the worst cases of TDS and gone way far left.
yeah, see, I don't believe that. I hear him talking, both sides. And I really believe, and he hasn't corrected me, and I've said it many times, I really believe he's just providing content for the channel. I don't think he really believes half that shit. Patty says a spiritual war made harder is what's happening. Agreed. Debbie says, Fab, go read some new headlines. The ones you keep using are getting old.
LOL, but she said it, Fab, so it's true. That's what everybody on the left thinks. If the left says it, it's true.
Right. Patty says, it's a hate fest. Yes. Lady B says, good night, Linda. Sweet dreams. I have enjoyed the live and love y'all. Much love and respect. I hope to be at Bible study, quietly learning. Thanking y'all for everything. God bless. Lady B, thank you and God bless you. Sweet dreams to you too.
Good night, lady.
We'll see you at Bible study. Fab Daddy says, headline, Debbie has a pickle fetish. and never peek at her boo-boos. And Debbie says, Fab, prove it. Van Weird says hi. Hello, Van Weird. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. This is a great place to hang out.
Hi, Van.
Fab Daddy says, 2 and 5, peeps. Stay hydrated. Be kind. Much love and sweet dreams. Fab Daddy, thank you for being here. God bless you, my friend. I'll see you next time. Michael Paranos. For the last time, I'm not a child, and that doesn't work on me. If your life is so pathetic that you need to do that to get attention, I'd reevaluate where you stand in the world, my friend. David Mordecai says Trump is the best ever and forever. He had a strategy. Thank you, David. Welcome to the show, and hit that subscribe button. Aaron says, thanks, Fab. Rest easy. And Amanda says, good night, Fab. Patty says, I hope your info is correct. And when Trump said it was a hoax, right? Yep. The Epstein list meaning, yeah, it's a hoax. There is no Epstein list. And also, if you go back and watch a show I did a couple weeks ago or last week, whenever it was, I told you that. You will never hear the truth of that. That would bring the whole house of cards down, and nobody wants that. Even the people that want Epstein to pay for what he did don't want the house of cards falling down, because that's what everybody survives on. You will never hear the whole truth. Fab Daddy says, I want to comment, but I plead the fifth. It's late. Can we get an Elizabeth ending? Yes. And Amanda says, in a minute, Fab. Patty says, Lyndon B. Johnson, father-in-law. Really? That's your father-in-law? Big artillery involvement. 2 + 2 = 4. Oh, I got you. Patty says, Johnson knew Kennedy's plan. Maxwell paid opposition. I agree. Get her done says, Earth is flat, guys. Get her done, you're preaching to the choir. I've been covered that 20 years ago. Welcome to the show. Starlight09 says, what's your opinion on the LGBTQ? I think it sounds better A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. I think that's better. I don't like it out of context. Maybe hello when you walk into a room full of people you don't know. That might work better. What difference does it make what my opinion is on the LGBTQ? Do you think it would help you? Or is that what you're looking for? Some kind of pat on the head that you're right and everybody else is wrong? Sorry, you've come to the wrong place. Go sell crazy somewhere else. We're all stocked up here, lady. Lady boy, whatever you are. Amanda says,
It is as far as you can see. Get her done.
Blank from Texas. Nope, I'm from North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. Welcome, Blank. Hit that subscribe button. Amanda says,
We don't care, Star.
yeah, we don't care. Patty says, thanks, Miss Amanda and Jake. Thank you, Patty. God bless you, sweetheart, and we love you.
You're welcome, Miss Patty.
Patty says, you both are groovy. Groovy.
Oh, thank you, Patty. You're awesome too, hun.
Reeling on a boulevard. Groovy. Patty says, how do we exchange numbers? Just email me. Go to UntetheredLiveStream@gmail.com and send me your phone number and I'll call you. Then you'll have mine. Patty says, later. And Amanda says, you can email us, Patty. Here's the email address, UntetheredLiveStream@gmail.com. And Amanda says, or message us on Facebook, whichever you like. All right, that's the end of the chat. Here you go. Oh, sorry. 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 all night long. But I just stare. So I drove down to the local bar where people come in their fancy cars and play their games. But I just stare. Then I saw you sitting there, all alone in that empty chair right next to you. I fell in love, oh baby. You looked down and you took my hand. You said, boy, I hope you understand that I'm not a girl that needs a man. I got my life and all my plans, and if you were there, you'd just be in my way. Girl, it ain't gotta be like this. I'd give you everything with just one kiss, and I don't care what you say. I fell in love with you anyway. Oh, Elizabeth, you take my breath away. At that bar where we first met, you smiled at me and my palms got wet, and you just looked away. But I just stared. You said, been in love and it never works. I always end up getting hurt, and I ain't doing that no more. There ain't no way. Oh no, 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 no. You stood up to say goodbye, grabbed your hand with a tear in my eye, and I just walked away. But you just stayed. But you looked down and you took my hand and said, boy, I hope you understand that I'm not a girl that needs a man. I got my life and all my plans, and if you were there, you'd just be in my way. Girl, it ain't gotta be like this. I'd give you everything but just one kiss, and I don't care what you say. I fell in love with you anyway. Oh, Elizabeth, you take my breath away.
That's right.
All right. That's a little original music just for Fab Daddy. Thank you for asking. And that's it for me tonight, guys. It is 12:27 here on Untethered Live at Politi-tics. We'll see you tomorrow night for some Bible study at 8 p.m. right here, Eastern Standard Time on Untethered Live. Be nice to the world when you go out and face it tomorrow. Have a great night. God bless you, and make babies if you can. See you then.
Night, y'all.
And thanks for watching.